Future shopping around here this morning in the pre-market. We're back to basically flat on the morning for both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Coming on the back of a huge week last week where we had basically all of tech report. We had the Fed, of course, as well going into this week. More on the earnings front to deal with. Palantir coming up tonight. We get AMD, we get Uber. Still lots of decent names to come on the earnings side of things, but more headlines coming out of the Middle East also causing a little bit of uncertainty once again. Oil moving around once again this morning. I was just seeing yields moving around once again this morning in the US dollar. So a wide range of topics to discuss this morning, including GME's buying eBay.
What?
Who knew? That kind of comes out of nowhere. So yeah, both eBay and GME all over the place. I mean, GME specifically a little more volatile right now, back to the downside. In fact, red on the morning after a big pop early on, but
I know. This is super interesting. Well, he's been trying to save up a lot of money, Ryan Cohen and company. What do they got? They got $9.4 billion in cash, Brendo. So a little bit of a war chest. We'll see if he can finagle his way into an acquisition. I saw this Friday night, and the first thing I did was message Joe. I'm like, GME's breaking out. We got to look at GME. And then it basically faded the rest of the afternoon. No continuation there. But there's a lot to talk about, as you mentioned. Oil back in focus, obviously, with President Trump basically saying, look, we're going to try to escort some of these neutral ships that have been stuck there for a couple of months. Basically trying to give the Iranians a heads up so they don't shoot at them.
Right.
That was kind of my take there. Meta in the headlines, obviously. NCLH reported they're down big, high single digits over here. And you see this headline? Amazon trying to finagle its way more into relying on its own for logistics. FedEx, UPS, all down because of that.
I was talking to a guy, a friend of mine does enterprise sales for AWS in Toronto specifically. He's a local rep for everything in Toronto, and I was talking to him about that on the weekend. Right. And he had a really interesting take. We'll talk about it a little bit later, maybe when we get into Amazon a little bit deeper. But he was also really excited about the chip side of things, and said for them specifically, for the guys that work in AWS, it'll be like a huge change, but positive. He just had his entire team replaced. So they had basically all of their guys, it was 20 plus guys let go, and then he was put into another bigger group. So it's not only just south of the border, but to your point, your earlier point anyways, here's USO. That was the initial move this morning. Nice pop higher. We're right back down, essentially where we started this morning for oil at this point. As I said, very volatile, lots to come. Typical for the week after the Fed. Pick a day, there's going to be a Fed speaker speaking at some point throughout the day. There's a long list today and then basically every day this week.
Yeah, Kashkari already chiming in, basically saying, look, we should be looking at the other end of the spectrum here. Like rate cuts is not the narrative at the moment. It's rate hikes, especially with this month going into the second war. And then if you just start forecasting, right? These ships take about 6 to 8 weeks to come from the strait to head to their destinations. They're pretty slow moving. So when you talk about the actual oil supply, forget about the price, the actual product of oil, you're not likely to see it for another, month and a half, possibly after the war is over.
I was watching a Bloomberg report on the weekend on just on YouTube, but they were saying 6 weeks and Europe could have significant jet fuel shortages in
Germany
as little
They started their coal plant again because they're running out of energy. Or nat gas is an issue because they don't take as much from the Russians. Who knew coal was making a move back? I was looking at the chart on coal this morning. It's price per ton or something like that, and it's at I think 6 months, 8 month high.
Yeah. So lots to, as we said, lots to understand, lots to discuss this morning as we get going into a brand new week, including more decent earnings to come as well, including Palantir after the close. Happy Monday.
And may the 4th be with you, you could say, as well. But you're right, Palantir after the bell. That should be an exciting one. We'll be sticking around for that one. It should be right after the bell. But you gotta, look, this GME eBay thing. Like, what's crazy to me about it is Ryan Cohen's got a clause in his new pay package where there's a goal of $100 billion market cap, and aggressive trying to pick up someone that's bigger than you is one way to grow the company. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, we'll see if that ends up being something that was really just like self-driven, or if there's some kind of a real turnaround here. But because it's half stock, like it's half GME stock, TD's already come in with some debt here. I'm thinking eBay is a potential fade. Like VWAP or maybe the pre-market highs. I'm going to look for a spot on that one to maybe play into the short. And we saw this last week with GME running. Like there was anticipation going into this that there would be some kind of an announcement, but they got $9 billion in cash, and it's going to require a lot of it, plus debt, plus stock, to get this sucker done. But who knows? We'll see how it goes. I mean, obviously, right now, GameStop has already had a 10% from bottom to top move just in the pre-market here, and it did about that on Friday. So this is going to be in play. eBay is going to be in play, but don't forget about last week's earnings names. Roblox a bit on the mind here. Rivian, of course. Those were both some big-time movers. And Bitcoin hit 80,000 over the weekend. Didn't hold it, but it hit 80,000 at least. Faring much better than the Raptors did. But you know what? They got to Game 7.
Yeah, Raptors.
Losing in Game 7 is how we roll.
Oh, we didn't have Ingram. We didn't have any of those guys there yesterday. Quickly. We had $90 million on the bench. The NBA is nuts. But yeah, here we go. Palantir today, up another 2.5. We'll see if that can continue to go. It's my number one trade today if we can get a dip buy for Palantir into 145, right? Sort of the closing prices there from Friday. And then we did have Google actually. I don't know, getting a little bit of an upgrade today, and as Neil mentioned there, yesterday's winners into last week can be today's trade. So we'll see if Google wants to break above this 386 and change, which it's doing right now. Interest from the U.S. government, I just saw something across the border there, across the line. U.S. government a little interested in these TPUs, so we'll see if Google can continue to climb. Wow, what a move there. And then I was just, Joe brought up this DRAM ETF, and I was like, oh, are we still going in all of these? And it was like SNDK, just up another 3.5% there. As you may be able to tell, it was a very busy weekend again. The voice is starting to get lost here. Lots of outdoor activity, lots of baseball, lots of hockey, lots of everything this week. So we're exhausted here on a Monday morning when you're supposed to be refreshed. Tesla 400, they had a run at this on Friday as well, down today. With the NASDAQ pretty flat. So we'll see if Tesla can hold out right here as well. 390, 391 coming through for TSLA. So, yeah, you mentioned Rivian, that just hovering around that $15 mark. I actually didn't, I didn't really have it on my radar, but hey, man, this is not a bad play either. Low there of last week into 15. So, probably break that here today. And we'll see if there's a good little support area here for RIVN. So Rivian. Not a bad play here as well today. So yeah, as you mentioned there, IBIT should be good, Ethereum. And then yeah, I didn't even realize eBay was a $100 stock. Like when I heard it on the way in this morning, I was like, oh, I thought eBay was like 50 or 60 bucks, like, whatever. But it's actually been pretty good. Like I don't know the last time anybody's actually even used eBay, but maybe we could ask that as in the chat as a poll. But yeah, eBay used to be pretty hot back in the day, I remember, before sort of, as the internet was just kind of taking off, everybody was there on eBay looking for things to buy, selling things, and PayPal, of course, spun off there as well. So eBay, yeah, looks like it's trying to get a little higher. And as Neil said, we sort of thought something was brewing last week there with GameStop, and now you do have, the reason. And when Wall Street gets, hears some sort of grumblings there, they wonder what's going on. And you did have a couple nice days there, kicking off with today. Relatively muted move, but down 2.5%. Normally when I would say that this deal probably is something, because normally when there is an acquirer, it goes down. So people are probably thinking that maybe there is something here. Apparently TD Bank is going to finance the $20 billion. So if they can do that, plus you said the stock, give a little bit of the cash, they have $9 billion themselves, plus they can just dilute their shareholders. So I think it's close.
The question is whether eBay is at all interested, because it's unsolicited.
Depends on the
and
price.
They're like, well, eBay could always be like, well, we don't see you as a viable acquirer because we're bigger than you. So why are you acquiring? Like you never know how it's going to go with the board in that particular case. But
they have to believe in GameStop because they're going to get stock.
Well, they also have to, and they have to believe in Ryan Cohen. If he has the turnaround plan, he says he's going to run the combined business, so they'd have to believe that turnaround plan and that he is the leader. So there's a lot that would have to happen for it, and I think if you work it out to like the closing price on Friday makes it like 125. But if half the deal's in stock and GameStop's going to move around 10%, then eBay's going to move today as well. Don't forget Intel, $100. That'll be a bit of a thing I suspect. It's already tried twice today to get there. It broke, broke more than twice yesterday, on Friday, because it broke big level to watch here this morning. And look,
101.
one of the things that I feel like we didn't do as often last week was make sure that we get to the visualizer for some of the names. I want to point out, obviously, GameStop is going to be number one on the list. There's some small capper, CNSP, but I want to make sure you guys get the symbols in there. So when you're typing anything in the chat, if you include a stock symbol, remember $ and then whatever. So if I is going to come on in there at some point. If you think it would, I'd probably refresh it. And there you go, GameStop number one. Now, SanDisk is going to be up there, 1,200, which is completely insane. Wrecker, NVIDIA, Apple, SCO, IonQ. That's an interesting one, IonQ. So make sure, everyone, that you're participating. And if you got a symbol that's interesting, could be a small capper, who knows, could be a large cap, doesn't matter. Just throw it in there, and then we'll know what you guys are interested in. And that's what it's all about here, making sure that we're attuned to the market. Some SOUN, Soundhound was that was
a great call.
That was a big mover on, well, it's Thursday and Friday, at least Friday for sure. I don't remember if it moved on Thursday as well. But in the midst of a breakout off of the lows of Soundhound, so that'll be of interest to many. I guess it was only on Friday that it made that huge, huge break.
Yeah, it broke out there. Someone was talking about Soundhound. I think.
Super chat.
Oh, Super Chat already. Yeah, Zeta. Yeah, people love that. It's an advertising business. There's Zeta. There's a lot of. I don't know enough about this, but I do see that this does get a lot of social media. I have to ask Kader about this one because ZETA. I mean, I see people on Twitter pumping this one. I don't know what's up with this name, but yeah, this could be an interesting. I don't know why people love it so much, but it's above the 200 period. They did have a good earnings report, looking to break out. ZETA. I believe it's an advertising platform. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that one. I always thought that GameStop and eBay actually, you know, they could fit pretty nicely together because I remember like when we were going to that sneaker con and everything like that, GameStop and eBay is big into the, you know, verification, validation of like cards and shoes and all that kind of stuff and collectibles. And then GameStop was also mentioning that they were going to try to get into that whole grading system and you know, auctioning and all that kind of stuff with the recent moves there. You know, with Pokemon's been super hot. I don't need to tell anybody that. And sort of the collectible space right now is really, really hot, actually. So, I mean, it's died down since COVID, of course, but I think that would be something to talk about for GameStop and eBay. I think that there is a synergy there. That's synergy. Synergy was one of those words that when we were in high school, like everybody was in university, that was like the one that's like everybody talked about. What are the synergies within the businesses? But I think eBay and GameStop can have some for sure. So, but yeah, okay, all good, man. We're really good here this morning. We've got some few new members rolling around here. We want to say hi to them. We've got Joe's going to be here today, ready to go with his options and some upgrades and downgrades. You know, as you said, it's May the 4th, so will Obi be around at some point? We'll have to see if he makes an appearance here as this is a very special day for him, Obi-Wan. Yeah, we've got, hopefully we'll have Sia, Ramin, everybody. We've got Andre here, so it's a good one. Adara's ready to rock and roll. It's Monday, baby. The whole team's here.
I haven't seen Randy yet, though.
He's not here. His car is not here. So
that was going to seem like...
Yeah. Randy's not here, so we're missing one.
Busy week last week.
And it's going to be 20 degrees today. It's already, what is it already here today? 10 degrees. I got our buddy Zane already messaging me about wanting to get Chris Olave. Everybody wants him. I got 3 messages today yesterday from 3 different GMs.
Really?
So I don't know what's going on. Yeah. I don't know. A lot of people, man. They're offering me some RBs. So we'll see. I don't have any running backs. So I have Devin A-Chain. That's it. And Zane's trying to go Bucky Irving a little bit. So I don't know. But I know he has Gainwell there. But Olave, I have a plethora. I mean, wide receivers are easy.
You don't want Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? So, and then Jeff has a bunch. I would like to get Judkins, but
that's you.
He's. I mean, they're both Olave's injury prone as well.
Fantasy football is like the stock market, man. It is buy low, sell high. That's what it's.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what
anyways.
that's what you're
Well,
supposed
that's what you do. After like 1 or 2 weeks, you always go to the same guy after the second or third week in the season. And some guy puts up like 100 yards. The next thing you know, you get like all pro guys for him. You get like first round picks and everything. And then 3 weeks later, the guy's benched or whatever.
I'm a dirty dog. Like, there's this one dude in our league. I promise you, after it's somewhere between week 2 and week 3.
Yeah, there's always 1 or 2 guys you can.
I look at my roster. I'm like, okay, well, who just had the most ridiculous first 2 weeks? That even if
that like can't carry it forward.
But I won't trade a bill. But like a guy that I believe won't carry forward. And then I just look and I go, I don't even care what I'm getting from him. I'm just going to trade this guy to him for whatever I can get. Whether I'm getting picks, I don't care. I just know he's going to buy at the high, and then I'm good to go. It's like you just keep going back to the well over and over. That's what the market. Markets are about.
Right. It's like not every fantasy player is SanDisk. You know, you can buy and it just keeps on going higher and higher and higher. You know, one big report this week, the biggest I think of the week is going to be advanced micro devices. Like, I still can't even believe there's a 3 in front of this. Like, this name was like $50, $60, $80. Like, it was just so low for so long. Like, you don't even have to go back that far, man. You go back to last May. This was $97, man. And that was after an epic run from 77. Like, you know, it's just so crazy. Like, this is the tariff tantrum that we were all like, oh my God. Like, I remember, and it was the beginning of baseball season last year, and I remember talking with this guy that manages a bunch of money for TD, and he was saying to me that he had like so many of his clients, you know, backed out of the market because they were so nervous and so pissed off about tariffs and, you know, like Trump, and just like he was now starting to make his moves, and what did this mean for the market and everything like that. And he liquidated, let's just say he was managing, I don't know, $10 million or something. He's not big, he's just a little family guy. And, you know, 6 or 7 million of that money kind of didn't liquidate, but, you know, got lighter. And it's just like, you know, now you look back and you say like, oh shoot, like, did I, you know, pull the chute down here? Like, you know, and then now, literally a year later, I just wish you had that, like, myself too, like all of us, I'm sure, like, you know, you wish that you would have pushed a little harder. But that's why you wait for these kind of dips to happen. And like right now, if you want to talk about, I mean, if you just look up the definition of parabolic, like this name has gone from April 1st of $200 to $360 today. You know, that's 23 trading days or something like that. You've almost doubled in a chip name where the story has been obviously extended, but like these are not new names. These are not new IPOs that we didn't know about. Like this guy Sharif, like Sharif was wearing blue jackets for the longest time, you know, for Jensen, and we kept on talking about Lisa Su and their cousins, and you know, one's gonna lead to the other. Anyways, long story short, there goes AMD with a report on May the 5th. Tomorrow, is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow after hours. So, you know, where's this name going to go tomorrow? I think higher, honestly. So I don't, when Moon? How about
Moon's already.
How about like,
well, Mars next.
When whatever's extended past Moon. So
MARS.
I'm not the, you know, the astrologist around here. So you would probably
we're going to the Moon.
You know more about that.
And then we're going to Mars. MARS.
And we're going somewhere, someone that's already been to Mars. We're going to Joe right now, man. It's the calls. Let's go over and figure out what's going on with the options impact of the day with Joe.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. Let's take a look at some of the options activity from Friday's session. We're going to kick things off with Nokia, guys, at this $12 mark here. We have open interest sitting around 79,100 contracts at that $12 strike price. But as for the volume, open and close, we had 2,710 open and close on Friday's session. That is going to be expiring May 15th, so a couple of weeks here, guys. But as for our delta, relatively high here. You're sitting at that $80 metric, and then we have a substantial amount of gamma exposure. We don't often talk about it because there's always 0.0, but what we're sitting at right now, it's $15. That's relatively high speaking, especially in Nokia, but our at-the-money IV uptick there as well too, guys, 72.3%. Don't forget, we have a couple weeks until this contract expires. Moving forward, let's take a look at the actual contract itself and see how much it's climbed since last week, literally a week ago today. We have 1,500% going from roughly $13 to north of $2 on this specific contract. Watch out for Nokia to continue to climb here, guys. Now we have MSTR missed there, guys. We're going to be looking at this $170 mark. Been on a pretty good run. 50% off of those lows, but let's take a look at the open interest. We're sitting around 19,800 contracts there with 2,280 opened and closed on Friday's session. Now, this is going to be expiring on May 8th, and you can see the spread is relatively wide. We're sitting at a $40 spread there, guys, but also considering we're looking at an in-the-money contract, delta elevated, and our gamma exposure, if we're looking at the Greeks, it's nothing compared to what we just seen in Nokia. Mind you, it is more expensive, right? Significantly, $170 compared to the $12 strike price. But nonetheless, you're still seeing some gamma exposure here. And at the money IV sitting around 73.3%. There's been a good appreciation within the value of these contracts as well, too, guys. Going from under $2 to north of $19, closer to $20. Now, some more notable mentions here. We're going to take a look at some of the chip names on Friday's session. We're going to kick things off with NVDA at that $200 mark. We're a little bit below that here. Open interest 66,500 with volume around 107,000 contracts opened and closed, okay? Now, as for our open interest, we typically, we're still a bit away from the earnings report, but watch for that to continue to grow leading into that. That's going to be expiring on May 8th, guys. But at some point, leading into that report, we're going to see that open interest really start to uptick. AMD on the list as well, too. We're going to be looking at that $350 marker with 11,000 contracts open there and volume at 2,280. And then we're also going to be looking at IBIT, 43.5 open interest sitting at 10,600. And then volume relatively light on that specific contract, 978 contracts open and closed on Friday's session at that specific strike price on that specific expiration cycle. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Yeah, crypto's going to be on the mind. The MSTR, ooh, it's scary. I know we got some viewers that like that to the south side. Usually, eventually, that works out for you. But right now, you got Bitcoin on some strength.
Oh yeah, JKL like that one short. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I mean, like that's the thing with like swing trading, day trading are two very different things, and you can swing short, and the day trade can look pretty long in the short run there. But I wanted to throw up. Whoops, I have it on the Dixie because I guess I was looking at Dixie at some point. Don't care about the US dollar. Let's go with on the 1 hour. It's been a pretty decent jaunt to the upside here. I don't really even need that, but the breakout at 80, I think might take some time here for Bitcoin. If you look back at what the 78 resistance did, like once, twice, even pull back to 75, and then we had the break. So I think it'll be like a slow and orderly move before we crack through that, which leads me to usually look in dip buys. So look at the consolidation on Friday on IBIT. Held some prior resistance, which was 44.3 into 44.5 and 6, and we just consolidated that level. I'm looking for that again today, like dip and rip. And if we lose 44.2, then I'm willing to look for the reverse. And then that's when I start looking at things like BMNR or maybe an MSTR for the south side. But yeah, looking bullish again here on IBIT. The only difference is on Friday, I was bullish on Bitcoin and silver. Well, bullish on one of those, but not sold on the other. SLV pulled way back, gave up everything that was made on that move on the breakout on Friday. And maybe it catches some of it back there, but the dollar pulled back a little bit, and that was able to maybe stem some of the tide. But I'm going to be focused more on IBIT today, not as much SLV. Both were good longs on Friday. Only one of them looks as good today.
All right. Yeah, we did. Dara just asked me very kindly about that ZETA stock and what it was. So she's going to look that up and have a story for us when she kicks that out. So those of you that were lucky, we did have that stock visualizer out. So I wanted to say that this is one. And thanks to Dara, she heard me mention it and was like, let me get onto that one for you guys. And we'll figure that out. So that's TSLL just showed up, but that's ZETA. So we'll have a look at that. So and get a quick look. Yeah, we did have USO and some of these oil names popping around. I think that this week we should have Raheem maybe on. We'll see if some people talking about some Canadian names there in the chat. We could definitely talk some energy when he shows up or what's going on there. And who knows? We should have Michael Noss coming through from Stats Edge. And we just had the new hire for the Maple Leafs, new GM, a stats guy. So I brought it up to the boys around here and was like, oh, maybe Michael Noss knows this guy. Love Mondays. Oh, there he is. Here we go. Okay. So still swinging short the cues. I think you just got to get through this week. I mean, this is going to be another NASDAQ kind of week here again. Okay, and MicroStrategy, so we're a strategy, so we know that. Quick direction if things turn out in the Mideast. Yeah, so if things turn in the Middle East. I mean, which way are they going to turn, though? I mean, I don't.
Well, you could turn it either way.
No, I know, but I feel like right now, it's like, I don't, like, if it was going to escalate, what do we need to see for that? Just like another all-out, like, what do they call it, Midnight Hawk or whatever, that like another big bomb drop or something? Like, I don't know if we're at that stage. I hope the turn is, towards a continued, obviously, ceasefire, and obviously that's what we all hope for. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Like USO, I feel like the market's a little bit sort of pushing aside right now some of the Iranian news. I don't know.
It's trying to focus on earnings again.
Yeah, so
That's what the market's been trying to do, and we've been able to, the good news is we've been able to withstand USO making fresh highs almost every single day. Like oil's been making highs, and the market's been able to do that as well. I don't know how long that can last. So I think you do want something to turn a little bit better, but as we will always do, we keep our ear to the ground around here. Like you could get any single headline, if something does pop off, usually you'll see that big move in USO, and then we get to gauge whether or not we think there's continuation. There's a lot of good fades off of that, or I guess buy the dip when you get these crazy, one-off wicks. Sometimes they matter. You'll get a volume spike, and sometimes it follows through. Other times it does absolutely nothing, and then just pulls right back in. So we'll keep our ear to the ground like we always do around here. And Boyland World, why is Canadian AI stock Xanadu getting wrecked?
Xanadu.
I'll look that one.
Maybe because it has a crazy symbol. I don't know. What is Xanadu?
ZND. You all look for
Zed, what is it?
I saw this. Someone posted it in the chat, and I was like, okay, let me look this one up. Usually you can find it.
Okay.
I don't see a news story for them, though. Like
I don't even know
you're
that
not
stock.
down 65%
That's
without
Canadian?
there being a story.
Oh.
They don't report for 2 weeks.
Okay.
They report on the 14th. Yeah, I don't see a story for ZNDU. I'm sure there is something. Yeah, there's got to be. You're not down 65% with nothing. I'm sure we'll be able to find it at some point. It'd be pretty bad if you just randomly drop 65%, or maybe somebody knows something. We'll see. But again, that's why we keep our ear to the ground. You're in the right spot. We're going to go back up to the desk. We've got the men in white, and we'll soon be joined by a man that I'm pretty sure will be in plaid.
Monday? I don't know. He's a plaid Monday kind of guy or not, but we'll see. It's usually Friday, I think. That is his Canadian tuxedo day. We'll see. Michael Noss is coming up, by the way. They mentioned Raheem as well. Raheem is in Washington for the next couple of days, but he's going to try and join us from Washington.
What's out there?
He's there for a big political event. I'm not sure even what he's doing, but we'll ask him.
He's a jet setter.
It's Raheem, yeah. You never know. He's a man of mystery. And then he's going to New York after that. So he's going to join us potentially. We're working on it, but potentially from the NASDAQ coming up later this week as well. You mentioned this one to start things off this morning. Here is NCLH. If you zoom out, we're teetering right now at this 1750 level. This goes all the way back to December was the last time we touched this. We touched this back in April, and then here we are again, right back to the bottom end of the range on the back of this earnings report that came out pretty bad, which is kind of a surprise, I think, because some of the other ones have been doing okay. Yeah. Especially on the demand side of things and the forecast specifically going forward, but not so much here.
Yeah, a bit of a tough look here, Brendo. A decent report, as you mentioned, 9.4% increase in revenue. The yield was down a little bit here, down 0.3, blaming it essentially on pricing pressure. Adjusted EPS, that was a big beat. So they're really able to shore up costs, 23 pennies. The street wanted 9, EBITDA also increasing 18% year over year. The key negatives here is the full year guidance was lowered. They're saying due to softer bookings and macro disruptions, Middle East geopolitical impact, higher fuel cost, weaker European demand among some of the reasons being cited.
It's bouncing a little bit here this morning, but definitely a key level to watch. The other thing I wanted, Michael Loss is here, so we'll get to him. But the other thing I wanted to show real quick is yields. I mentioned off the top here, yields popping a little bit. There's the 10-year. We're coming back in right now, but we got as high as 4.5. The 30-year, same story, actually got above 5 once again for the 30-year. First time since going back to March, back above 5%. So moving higher. I mean, we're coming back in right now, but moving higher for the most part. The dollar as well back higher again this morning. It was mostly negative on the week last week. So all of that not going to be terribly friendly to stocks to start the week. But let's see how we go. Again, right now, currently, shorter time frame, we are coming back in for all 3 of those, which should help things out. But as mentioned, it is plaid. It's Monday plaid day. It's the formal plaid today, black and white. Nice. Michael Loss joining us on a Monday to talk a little bit about where the market is overall. And I mean, I'm sure most people that are watching have heard this term, but from a technical standpoint, a shooting star type of formation, not positive. So what gives here, Mr. Noss? I thought we were just going up and up and up.
Well, that's the conventional wisdom. So first of all, I got to change my outfit, I guess. I got to get a new wardrobe.
All good.
If I was that easy to
just own it, man.
Yeah, the shooting star. Everyone's talking about the shooting star. So I thought, like I would do, and like we do over at Stats Edge, I'd do some math on it. So let's see if it's actually bearish. First chart I have here is just the chart. Again, I couldn't go anywhere on Twitter. Go back one there perfectly. So I couldn't go back. It couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go on Twitter. I couldn't go, oh, it's a shooting star. That's definitely a hugely bearish sign. Take your profits now. Run. Everything's bad. And, you know, that's what the textbooks say, right? That's, you go to technical analysis school, and for those who don't know, shooting star is essentially just a gap up that creates that kind of topping tail. And if you look in the books at all, it's incredibly bearish. And we should just kind of come back down into that range, which again, still might happen. But if you take a look at the numbers, it doesn't look like it's that bearish. So the next couple charts I have here are just equity curves. And what I asked my system was simply, okay, on the SPY, what happens if you short a shooting star and you hold it for X number of days? So this first one's 5 days, so roughly a week. So what if you shorted this morning and held it for a week? How often would you be right and the market would actually have pushed down for a week? And how often would you be wrong? And turns out you'd only be right 34% of the time. And when you're wrong, you're really wrong, right? You don't need to be a quant to know that you generally want these equity curves to go the other way. You want them to go up slowly instead of down slowly. And so, okay, maybe it's not a short-term bear signal. Maybe it's a more intermediate term. So the next chart is 2 weeks, so 10 days. You're right a little bit more often. You're right 40% of the time now that it could be a topping tail. But when you're wrong, you are really wrong. So you lose about 54% of your money. If every time there was a shooting star, you shorted the SPY, you'd lose about half of your money, while you can see the asset performance would have been 1,500% at that time. So not a great strategy. Next one here is 20 days, or if you hold for entire month, now you're right less than 30% of the time, and you would have lost 85% of all of your money. So I'm not convinced this is the bear signal that everyone is looking for it to be, just based off the numbers. It's one of the beauties of being kind of technical, but then also statistically minded and quantitative, is that every time I see kind of a bold claim, I can just go in and test it. And these kind of tests with backtesting software take minutes, right? It didn't take me a long period of time to put this together to show that you really don't want to be shorting against this. And so the next chart I just found is just an example of the last time. This wasn't quite at all-time highs, but this was the 2025 shooting star. And the reason for that is I remember, I couldn't find the exact presentation. I remember maybe coming here and doing kind of the same thing and looking at the same thing. And you can see what happened there. It wasn't down right off the bat, but it did cause a little bit of a pause. And maybe that's what we're seeing here, where maybe it's going to cause a little bit of a pause, maybe short or get some shorts kind of sucked back in before moving higher. I don't know. Just because you're wrong 30% of the time or 70% of the time still means you're right 30% of the time. So there is that chance that this is some sort of at least short-term reversal signal. Last chart, a little bit unrelated, but a reason that I'm also bullish the market here. And this is the S&P 500 or the ES futures contract. And below is the commitment of traders data. This is what I talk about all the time for whether people are long or short, whether, you can look to see en masse on kind of in the futures what the positioning of large institutional traders are, and they're still short, right? They shorted a little bit. You can see that dip down in the red indicator down below. They shorted a bit mid-May, and they haven't really covered. And if you short it mid-April, if you shorted in mid-April, you're not incredibly wrong right now, but you're still wrong. And the fact that these guys aren't covering, and turns out that this signal could indeed be bullish, those are two things that I kind of put together and say, okay, I don't necessarily want to give much credence to this, but the last kind of point here is that with most candlestick patterns, it is the confirmation candle that I think is the most important. So right now we're sitting about flat, but if we do get a pretty bad reversal today, then I need to relook at it and say, okay, what happens for a shooting star when there is follow through the next day? It might change the numbers for us just a little bit.
All right, so let's just go back here a second, because you threw out a number there that caught my attention, and that was less than 30% of the time on, hold on, I'll just go back on your charts here, less than 30% of the time on a higher time frame, so a longer look, if you shorted today, less than 30% of the time going out 3 weeks, you'd be wrong or correct.
You'd be correct.
Right.
So you're only right 30% of the time. You're wrong 70% of the time.
So to me,
when you're wrong,
to me, if you're getting a more than 70% chance at a winning trade in the other direction, maybe we're just buying today.
Well, that's the first thing I did is I just flipped the question and said, what happens if you buy? And the equity curve just flips, entirely. Now, this is no stop losses, no profit targets, nothing fancy, just what happens X number of days later. But yeah, there's roughly a 70% of the time after this kind of topping tail that pushes up. And then I also try to think of it like a trader. If I had shorted this thing, where would I put my stop? It would probably just be at the high of that topping candle. So if we start to get this reversal higher, if I'm shorting that's where my stop is going. It's somewhere over that shooting star high. So I don't know if that's the phenomenon that potentially causes it, that a lot of people may be short right now and they put their stop up there. And then if we go hit that price, we end up reversing higher. But it's funny that this is the best part, I think, about being kind of a technician / quantitative kind of trader. And everything we do over at Stats Edge is quantitative, is because you can take something that's kind of the conventional norm and test it. Often it's kind of random noise one way or another. But if it is such a bad signal that, just like you mentioned, sometimes the complete opposite is an amazing signal, and that's something that kind of makes me dig in and start to build different strategies and algorithms around, because if everybody's doing one thing and that one thing's wrong, I want to be the guy doing the other thing.
I mean, if you get a better part of 80% shot being right, most of the time on that's a great ratio. The other thing to consider here, and I wanted to throw out at this, is how much of this data revolved around. I mean, we're coming on the back of a time when we're past the Fed, we're past, most of big tech now on the earnings side. There are some more on the semiconductor side of things coming this week, but it's getting to that point where the amount of catalysts that could have potentially brought this market down further have done the opposite, seemingly, including on a macro front from what's happening over in the Middle East. So, I mean, given the situation of global affairs, given the situation of where the market is, given the situation of where earnings season is currently, looks pretty good.
Yeah, and this reason I brought that last chart, too, of the positioning, is everybody right now is wrong. And in 2025, it kind of feels like we're just playing the same song that we did in 2025, where early in the year, around April, funny enough, we had this big shock event that brought everything down. Everybody in the world seemed to have shorted into that based off the commitment of trader data. I remember kind of really talking about that last year. And then they were all wrong. And I think it's more their being wrong that is fueling the move higher than really anything else. If we have a little bit of bad news and you were short for about a month and the market's been moving up for a month, any kind of bad news, any downtick, you're going to use that probably as an opportunity to cover your short position. And then any kind of an up move, you may have to be forced to cover your short position. So it seems like we're in this kind of area in that which until we unwind this, we have to potentially drift higher. And, that chart that I brought, the closer we were to zero line on whether people were long or short, that's when the market slowed down for that kind of 2 weeks or so we chopped around. Then they shorted into that consolidation, which makes me think, so this chart, when it got really, really close to the top there, which is almost flat, then that's where we started to see that kind of sideways consolidation and that chop, and then they shorted into that. So if we break out from here, they're wrong again. And it's great for us that they're wrong. It's just not too good for them.
Yeah, let's see how it plays out here. Everyone seems to be waiting for, a reason to sell, and there just continues to not be one. So at this point, it's just maybe play along instead. I don't know. It just seems like the easiest thing to do.
Trend trading is not, it's not fun because you're the guy buying the high and you don't want to be the guy who buys the high and something bad happens and it reverses. But I think that's the reason it works.
Michael Noss, best of luck this week. We'll touch base on Friday.
Actions here this morning. Some heavy hitters on the downgrade side of things, surprisingly so. We have AMD at the top of the list, guys, going from a buy to a hold with a $340 price target at HSBC. You're down a little bit more than a third of a percent. Now, Google also on the downgrade, going from a buy to a hold, but increasing its price target here at Freedom Broker from $365 to $400. And then we have Alexandria Real Estate. You're down about a fifth of a percent here, guys, going from outperform to neutral, but reducing its price target from $67 to $46 at Baird. And then we also have Checkpoint, guys, going from a buy to a neutral weight. Decrease the price target here from $260 to $120 at B of A. Moving forward, more positive things. Airbnb getting the nod here this morning, going from a perform to outperform. You're up 1.6% here today with a price target of $180 at Oppenheimer. Then we have the trade desk up 1.5%. Going from an underperform to a neutral here at Wedbush. And then Amazon also getting the nod, guys, going from a neutral to a buy with a $320 price target. TD getting the nod as well, too, guys. We're down about a third of a percent, going from sector perform to outperform here with a price target of 150 Canadian dollars. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
In the downgrade Alphabet after that quarter, huh? That's
wow. That's the balls, I tell you, the balls. But that, I mean,
an upgrade, and
maybe it's that Michael Noss story. Where you've hit that candle and you have it up on your screen. I'm just noticing it now. And I'm just, maybe there's a turnaround here on the daily, right? We talked about maybe that little doji star situation there as the S&P 500 also potentially turning around off of a big candle like that. But as Brendan sort of squeezed it out of Michael there, 70 to 80% chance that it continues to go higher, although we can always look the other way around. But what's going to stop Google? I mean, you could go back to last April.
That's what I'm asking, Mike.
140 last April, 380 today.
Why are we doubting these things?
Are we? I don't know.
Well, look, maybe I don't even remember. Look, analysts can do whatever they want ultimately, and the trend has been your friend when it comes to Alphabet. I suppose the interesting thing would be, did the trade desk, does that get interesting off of an analyst upgrade? Because it's found at least a temporary bottom, right? Like it's double bottomed here at 20. Might get dragged up. Heck, if Palantir drags the sector up tonight, you could do what? I mean, trade desk is holding the 50-period moving average. It's for the first time in, I don't know, like forever. What's this, like October? Yeah, late October was the last time it was holding over the 50-period moving average. It's actually got higher highs and higher lows over the last 2 weeks. That's also good. I'm saying this chuckling because it hasn't been doing that for a while. And this could be on the radar. I think this will be an interesting semi-sympathy play if the IGV gets going after Palantir tonight. But yeah, I don't know if I'd be betting against. I just don't. I feel like that's not the right way to go. There's some names that can play some catch-up for sure, and it might mean a slowdown in some of the more parabolic and stronger names that have brought the market in. But if you look across and just say, okay, well, Meta, Alphabet, Amazon and Microsoft and Apple, and then ask anybody who had the strongest and most impressive quarter. I'm pretty sure the answer across the board is going to be Alphabet. So, and they're already pumping. So you've got momentum, then you've got fundamentals, you got everything going for them to continue. But yeah, it's what it is.
Yeah, I was just writing to Joe here. I have AMD as, it was there as a downgrade, I understand that, but I have it as a long on the note, just back into 355. It was sort of the 10 a.m. You can go, I put the link in the sticky note in there a little bit today. Whoops, come down 1 minute chart. Oh, my screen there. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Yeah, so there it is right into here, the 6 a.m. or so little pump job that happened up to 361, all started down here. So we'll see. I understand it's under VWAP. I mean, I'm not super bullish right now. I mean, as this market winds up opening up, we'll have to wait to see where it winds up going. But right into these levels right there, 355, we'll see if we can hold. But look how choppy this thing was early on Friday, despite, you know, closing at new all-time highs. Was pretty ugly until, again, like at 10:30, a lot of these names went on Friday. So we'll see if something winds up happening again back into there for AMD, but I think it needs to be on the radar, as does all these names. I mean, I think you can insert, see, this is the thing, like, see, when I push it up through this screen, it won't go. I have a screen higher right there. So I don't know, I got to sort of go around and get back up there. So I got to, well, if I talk to Sparky about this might take a while, so we're not going to do that. But there it goes right there. That's AMD, so I really like that stock. And then, you know, whatever you're looking at today, Marvell, Broadcom, AMD, NVIDIA, like forget about SNDK, but Marvell's already up another 1.5%. This is looking like it wants to take out all-time highs. Let's just guess. Micron's up 2%? I don't know, I haven't looked. Let me just have a look here. Is it? Oh, there it is, 2.5%. So, you know, you throw these blind darts at these names, and it's not really rocket science. They continue to tick higher, right? And so you don't really want to short any of these doji stars here, because that one might have worked, and some of these might have been topping tail candles. But let's just wait to see if this one is that exactly today as well. You're on an island here. We'll see if it can come back out. As Sharif always says, I always hear him say, island boys. I don't know anything about these island boys.
Island boys.
I don't know what they are either, but I hear it on the midday show sometimes. So we may be out here. Joe and Sharif, the island boys of Trader TV Live. Am I allowed to say that? Does that mean? No. Okay, no.
No.
Okay, that is not good. Okay, so that is not what it is. But anyways, we'll see if some of these stocks are stuck on islands here today as well. I'm going to have to look these guys up now. So no, I do not. Okay, Joe is saying do not Google these guys. Okay, I guess I don't need that algorithm to spike again here. So
by the way, there's a few people in the chat that have been saying issues about the audio. The audio sounds absolutely fine.
The audio test.
Just refresh.
Hopefully it's just my audio.
No. I was listening and it was absolutely fine.
Okay.
Just hit the refresh if you can. You changed the subject very quickly there.
I just always hear those guys. I mean, they always mention them. And then we saw these stocks on an island, so I was like, okay, maybe it's one of that. But
those stocks are on special island, that's for sure. Like Mike, there's just so much momentum in them.
Yeah.
The thing that scares me is whenever you get it feels like when we get like a hype ETF, like if a new ETF comes in or new ETFs come in after things have gone parabolic, that's typically been like a temporary top, and it usually doesn't work out that well if you bought it at that moment. We saw that with the meme one. Maybe we'll see. Maybe it happens with the DRAM. I have no idea, but it certainly has signaled a top or temporary top before. So we got to watch out for that a little bit.
If there is ever problems with audio, sometimes if you're watching it at 1080p, you can go down to 720 or something.
That helps.
Sometimes that will help depending on what's going on in your traffic. I saw Starlink was only $50 in my neighborhood, so I was like, but the thing is that it only gets like 500 gigabytes or something, and we have
good connection.
Yeah, we have like 1.5 terabytes or whatever it is for our gigabytes.
You're in
whatever
the
it is.
boonies, man. It's apparently
I mean that's the thing. It's providing internet for everybody, which is amazing. So Tesla going to get rocking soon as well today. So I think that this should be a good name to look at, especially off of off of the lows. If we can make a low here, watch out for Tesla. Has been doing that a lot. Oh no, we just speak about how good the audio is going.
It was good.
And then Andre comes over here. Thank you, Andre. If you guys saw Andre, man, this guy's growing out his hair. It looks fantastic. Right there. This guy looks like a freaking runway model over there. So shout out to Andre.
Antonio Banderas.
Yes.
Like
good look. Yeah, that's what he looks like.
Like a young,
yes.
like from
Well, not an old one.
What's the movie? What's the
Dust Till Dawn?
no, the first Desperado.
Desperado.
Right?
Oh, he looks like Desperado guy.
That's the one.
I think so. Or what was he? The Z? Was that Desperado?
That's the one where, and then the guy that plays
Zorro.
Machete is the dude with the knives. That's my favorite scene. Is Desperado's the one where this one guy goes into a gunfight and all he has is knives. And like this limousine pulls up and dudes have like semi-autos and he just rolls around like throwing knives at people and somehow is kicking butt.
Must be a movie.
I don't know, we'll see. Danny
okay.
Trejo was in that. I'm pretty sure it's
Oh,
Desperado.
that guy's awesome, Danny Trejo. That guy's been in every single Spanish gangster
He just
role.
got paid.
Like he
same
He has
character.
that look. Like, okay, you're a gangster. That is you are. We've got him for
Hey,
you.
work is work, man.
All right, from 2 innocent guys to 2 gangsters. Let's go back over to the desk.
Yeah, guys, unfortunately, it looks like a static issue. So we'll keep working on that. But yeah, Sean slapping his microphone. That'll help. We'll hopefully find. You know what? Fabian had a theory on this last week, and I think he's correct. So through this wall to our right here is the loading area for the back of this building, like a loading dock, essentially, for the back of this building. And he was saying anytime a delivery truck pulls up there with, like one of those two-way radios, essentially,
Really?
some of the frequencies might be close, at least, to the frequencies that our wireless mics are operating on. I think he has a theory. Because it comes and goes. It's not constant all the time. So as soon as the truck leaves,
There's got to be something.
it's some sort of interference or something. So we're gonna have to put up like some blocking thing. I don't know. It never ends. All right, a couple other things to consider here this morning. We're talking about Palantir a little bit early on. I was just looking through some of the crypto names this morning as well. Palantir back to highs at this point, but BTC back to the upside here this morning. MSTR, no purchases last week.
Unbelievable.
How dare they? BMNR on the Ethereum side of things, up to 4% of Ethereum now. They bought a ton. I'll grab the exact number here, but they bought a ton again last week. So both of these, that's BMNR right now, 3-4 days in a row, straight higher. This thing trying to bounce, but MicroStrategy, 80+ million on a raise, but they didn't do any buying last week.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, and as we get higher to price, we touched 80,000 over the weekend, breaching it. We were below it right now. That's obviously a key resistance level, but one would expect him, he did, bottom pick, but he's probably going to buy on the way up if his bull thesis is that we reach all-time highs, 125, perhaps even breach it, maybe not by this year, but by next, well, then this is a great time to buy, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that. I'm personally looking for my own ad, I'm looking for a decisive take of that 80,000. Once we get through that, because it's been a very, very long consolidative area between the 70 to 80. In fact, actually below 65 to 80, you could say. So we'll see how the TA is here. But, underreported over the weekend, obviously, is the weekend surge with the U.S. response to Iran's de-escalation proposal. So there could be, some risk asset sort of de-risking coming in here. We'll have to keep an eye.
The clear picture to me is still there's a lot of money sitting around waiting and just looking for a reason to get back into risk assets. So we were talking about this with Michael Noss, but this is a little bit worse of an example that he brought. If you go to the actual Bitcoin chart, it looks a little bit better as far as a topping tail or a shooting star type of idea for Bitcoin. The actual Bitcoin chart did get above this high last week and then came back in. So yeah, we are higher, but we are giving back some right away. According to him, that just means buy. If it's, better part of 80% on the market, on the equity side of things, better part of 80%, if you held that or if you shorted that, shorted today for 3 weeks, you'd be wrong 80% of the time. So, to me, that's just a buy signal.
Well, it's exactly it, right? And if I could just look at the daily here, Brendo, for a second, because we've done this quite a bit on crypto. You can see these prolonged areas of general consolidation. Let's just take, for example, April of 2025. Look at the range that we had here with essentially about 55,000 as support with about 70,000. That was before we had breached that previous all-time high back from COVID. We ranged for a while, Brendo, from March of 2024 all the way until about November, until we got the election boom, right? Once President Trump was confirmed as a winner, we saw exactly what happened with the equity markets as well as crypto. But it was in a long consolidative phase. The thing is, we get these consolidative phases on the way up and on the way down. Case in point, let's just look at this area over here. When we lost $100,000, we were ranging essentially from middle of November in and around between 80 to about 90,000 from the middle of November till we lost that quite aggressively in late January. So a few months worth of range, very similar here. What I do like about this range here is the higher low pattern. You didn't necessarily see that in the November to January range. You're seeing it now.
Is it a bear flag, however, at this point? I mean, it remains to be seen. Like, whether it resolves to the upside or downside remains to be seen. But I mean, to your point, the way that this typically does resolve either way is in a hurry. And right now, we're not moving in a hurry yet. So time will tell. 4.29% is the total BMNR holding now. It was 102,000 ETH.
Interesting.
He bought last week.
And I always say to Joseph, I even asked him before we went off the air on Friday, I'm like, do you think Bitcoin has a breakout over the weekend? The only reason I say that is because a lot of the geopolitical stuff takes place on the weekend, and there's also very little in the way of liquidity. So if there's a big buyer there may not be a reciprocal seller to prevent them from ascending a little bit higher. And that's what we've seen a lot when there have been outsized moves. A lot of them seem to take place on the weekend.
Yeah. Let's see what happens today, or if we get any kind of development or catalyst, guys, over in the Middle East that will cause some more risk to be put back on.
Well, the way oil's sliding down right now, it seems like it should be in all systems go. And look, you can say maybe it's a bear flag. Yeah, you can't really argue too much with the notion that it might be. But whether or not we get to 80,000 today, it feels like that massive 74 resistance, breakout, support, and then turn into resistance. We're consolidating above that. And we've been sort of climbing higher ever since. So I just want to stay bullish until it puts in some kind of a reversal move. And Friday was a pretty good day from start to finish. I don't know that I'm expecting that kind of, it was like a gap and go type of trade for IBIT. You just sort of got in and then rode the wave. It gave you maybe a couple of dip buys, and it actually ended up on the lows. But I look at that support and just say, okay, hold the same support. Resistance to support, 44.30. If you lose 20s, then you can get out of Dodge. If we end up getting some kind of a reversal and we lose that big support level, it's a support level, I don't know how big it is, then I would rather look at BMNR if that's the case for some kind of a trend break as well. So if we're looking short today, which I'm not, I'd flip and move over to one of the treasury names. I feel like they're usually going to give you more bang for your buck in the other direction. But the first instinct is just to go long on the dip of IBIT.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about the market here today, and I think IBIT is going to lead it. I have bids on IBIT actually right around here to see if we can get filled. But look at oil right now. So oil's down $4. Its high was 148. Give it $5. Down to 143 right now. So that's nice. Down about 3.5% from its highs here, and it's just been sort of trending lower. So that should be. Although oil and the war and the Nasdaq. I mean, everything's been decoupled at this point. I mean, we're now into the third month of this sort of dispute here with Iran, which was supposed to last a couple days, now into its 90th day. It's just, it's tough to see oil make this kind of a move and not get a little bullish, I think, on the overall market. I mean, I always wonder that when oil's been here a double or so, has been a double, that the NASDAQ wouldn't be at all-time highs, but yet it is. So I think that if oil can come back in a little bit here, that should once again spike up these markets and, get the Dow and get some of these, big bellwether stocks starting to move back up to the upside as we start to worry less and less about USO and the impact of this Iranian dispute and Middle East saga. So, we look for good news. And will bad news actually even send this market down? I don't think that that's there. So I'm looking for good news, opening the straits or, something getting decided, which we've been talking about now, seems like for 3 weeks, the same sort of rhetoric. But hey, man, oil now starting to finally tick down a little bit. Maybe there's the short there at 146 if we can play back into VWAP again. So yeah, looking to maybe for the first time in a while, potentially go short onto oil. I mean, it's now been 3 or 4 days in a row that we've pulled back. Market continues to go higher. Great earnings expected this week from Palantir, from AMD, and from Uber later on this week as well. So we'll see if the market wants to hold some of those bids, and that's more likely to happen if the energy space gets a little weaker. So I know around here, gas continues to be, well talked about and high. So I can imagine across the United States what that looks like as well. So, the current administration needs to get oil back in. So if we can get that going, and just a quick little look here on the dollar before we throw it back over. And here it is right now. So whoops, see, get down again. Here's the US dollar. Shout out to Wealthsimple. It's always advertising over here. Here's what we look like on a daily chart. So we'll just zoom in. We're sort of stuck right here as well. So, trying to break out of many different ranges here. Oil coming back in. Looks like the US dollar is trying to tick upside a little bit there. That would be a preventative movement into the, here we go, 1 minute chart. This could be a decisive move, but doesn't look like it. So we need to wait for something to actually happen. I just said we were looking at a daily chart. Obviously we're not. So there's a daily chart, same type of thing, stuck in this area. So I saw yields going up today, so maybe something there with the US dollar. We'll have a look. If it breaks lower, then we're gonna have a great run in the NASDAQ if we can get back into this area, so 96 or so. Hey guys, what do you think about, so I just talked about Uber there. What day are they coming through? Wednesday, is it? Wednesday night? There for Uber. I'm nervous about Uber just because the price action hasn't been there.
Not what you want.
And I don't know. Okay, look at the market, for example, just went whoosh there, so maybe something. What do we think about Uber? Just looking at the chart, I think it's good. I mean, it's holding the 50-period moving average. We've talked about buying some names near some of the lows again. Uber would be one of those candidates at $70. I think you're just waiting to hear about, what the impact of Waymo's had on their business. Is their daily active rides still up? Or I don't know what metric they give, but how is that looking? Is Uber Eats, DoorDash has been a big move up. We had the DoorDash there at the White House the other day. So is that eating into a little bit of Uber's margin there, or, depending on how customers are moving from one way to the other? We just found out that, in Canada here with Amazon Prime, you get free DoorDash. So I don't really, other than having Uber for the rides, DoorDash is actually hooked up with Lyft as well. So I think there's a lot of competition in this space for Uber. Although I'm still long the name, it's been disappointing because you look at some of those other names that are also in the tech space that have been absolutely rocketing up. Uber, I think, needs to wait, see the impact of the cyber cabs, see this impact of the competition coming through with Waymo, and do people actually choose autonomous driving over current state of having a driver in there? How long will it take Uber to convert over some of those cars? I don't know. It's exciting. We did get a look with their deal with NVIDIA too, not too long ago. There trying to figure out these chips to get it more autonomous. So I like Uber, but it doesn't seem like it's moving around too much these days. So.
Yeah, just now, and thanks for the super chat. We just had the UAE issued a potential missile threat warning, and USO popped about $2 on that. That was probably the reason why you would have just seen the Qs and the SPY head a little bit to the downside, and there was a little bit of spike down. We're bouncing off VWAP here in the case of the QQQ, and which is back to, I guess, flat, and the SPY, which is bouncing, trying to get back into flat. So keep an eye. We always say this, you never really know what the next headline is going to be. For now, that is spiking. It's spiking oil futures higher, everybody. So with about half an hour to go as we get into the watch list, we'll keep our ear to the ground. We're still heavily lower from earlier in the morning on oil prices, but a little bit of a spike here, boys.
All right, guys, 720 and 4/5 is where we closed out Friday on the SPY. We're a little bit below that right now, down 0.15 on the SPY, essentially flat, but we're below the 720 area. So you can see there on Friday, we really caught a bid before we turned back a little bit. We got into 725. So we're going to say, a bit of a wider range today, Brenda. We're going to say 715 in case some bad headlines come in, cause us to sell off. 715 was a very staunchy resistance level. We're looking for it as support now. If we start catching a bid, our level number one is going to be 720. If we can get through that 720, we're looking at 725 high, the high on Friday.
Happy Monday to everybody. If you haven't done so yet, free stuff is below. Go down to the description of this video. Second link there will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. All you need is your email address. You get that for free every single day. It comes right to your inbox. Everything you need to know every single morning. Then you come join us at 8 o'clock and we get ready for the open. Here we go. GameStop looks like that on a daily chart right now, tagged or almost tagged, 27 this morning. I mean, or I guess it was after the close on Friday. But the interesting part of this is it comes out of nowhere at the end of the week. And now here this morning, we're still seeing, follow through and a lot of people recycling this story back around once again. So it's been, 2-3 weeks on that daily chart or so of a pretty good move here for GME.
Didn't catch you at all, by surprise. Maybe a little.
Does anything surprise you with GameStop?
Friday afternoon?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Right? We'll have to wait and see. I got a lot to say about this guy, so let's get right down to work. So essentially, Ryan Cohen has amassed some money here that's going to be able to help him possibly get this deal through without too much finance. He's got, as I mentioned earlier, $9.4 billion in cash that he's hoarded, and he also raised $4.2 billion, basically long-term debt, a 0% coupon. So he's got about $13.6 billion in cash that he can apply to this $55 billion, and a $500 million buyout, if you believe that. Also, he looked at the marketing budget here for eBay, and he was none too plussed about it, spending $2.4 billion in marketing in 2025, only to add 1 million net users, and that's like less than 1% growth. So he wants to cut that budget in half from 2.4 to 1.2. That's what he's talking about there. Also, physical authentication hubs. GameStop's got 1,600 stores, right, in the US. Well, what's one of eBay's main issues? Fraud. You advertise one thing, you send another. They're saying they can use some of these 1,600 stores to actually authenticate high-value items. We'll see if that jives. Also, the hostile 5% toehold here. So he's quietly, GameStop that is, pardon me, has amassed about 5% of the total outstanding shares of eBay, both through options and equities. That gives him one strategic advantage, Brendo. He can circumvent the board. Now that he has 5%, he can take that vote directly to shareholders. That's another strategic play on his part. And then last but not least, the pure equity CEO play. His compensation is tied 100%, if the deal goes through, to the performance of the two companies. He's not going to get anything guaranteed. That kind of signals to shareholders that his interest likely will be aligned with the companies, if you believe that or not. But those are the 5 points I want to make.
eBay did come out and confirm receipt of said unsolicited offer. I was just noting, it's, 409 million share float on this thing. Still, 61.9 million shares sold short as of a couple of weeks ago. 15.2% short float still for GME. But that, I think, is going to be the story, guys.
Well, the analysis on GameStop, eBay, and the rest of the watch list is going to be brought to you by Gemini here. And let's be real. You think you know where Bitcoin closes this week? Who wins in 2028? Where GDP lands? Stop arguing and start trading. Gemini predictions, yes or no markets on crypto, commodities, politics, sports, and more. Now featuring 15-minute and 5-minute crypto markets so you can trade the action in real time. Set your amount, see your odds, get paid when you're right. Open an account at Gemini.com or scan the QR code for more information there. And, well, if I'm making a prediction market on this, if they started accumulating that eBay position around February 4th, and it's been buying up, and there's been rumors about this for quite some time, I'm feeling the sell the news aspect of this, whether the deal gets done or not, just for today. It's cash in stock anyways. And it's been sliding, eBay's been sliding back. So I might think VWAP, the whole usual pop and fade, the pre-market high doesn't seem like a very realistic opportunity here. But I'm going to look for a fade on eBay today. If we get into the volume weighted average price around 113, or even if it breaks that, I'd look for the 115. I just feel like profit taking makes a heck of a lot of sense here. Given that this was speculated for quite some time, the stock had been running going into this. Even if it were to happen, because it's unsolicited, it could take some time to get the board on board. And really, there's probably also going to be some shareholders that don't want to own they don't want to own GameStop. So if they're getting stock, they're not that interested as well. I might decide that they want to take the exit, which could be right here. So I'm going to look to short some pops here in eBay today.
Yeah, I think this is, I was just looking at USO here as, I guess it was Scott Bessent talking about having complete control of the strait and, they're the ones in charge and so on and so forth. So upside there on oil as we talk about those missiles, and then downside as it comes right back in with that talk again. So Scott Bessent now talking. So just letting you guys know that that's what's going through. Yeah, look, we've been talking about this, man. We had that poll up a while ago, GME versus Ethereum. We talked about how we like GME down here near that $22, $23 mark. Looks like they were trying to base it out. 21, we haven't broke through 21 in years, it seems like. I think literally you can go back and have a quick look at this $21 level. So yeah, down 5%. When we looked at it earlier, it was only down 2.5%. Now you're starting to go lower. I feel like, Ryan Cohen looking to make money, obviously, but also looking to do good for shareholders, I would think. Fiduciary responsibilities. But we'll wait to see where this name goes. I do think there are some jives between the two companies. I mean, we talked about the grading system, and I remember that GameStop had talked about opening that system up and some sort of an online grading system there. eBay is big for collectibles. We don't have to tell you guys that. So I think GameStop, there is some sort of we used this word earlier, synergy between the two names. I just think it's a little bit pricey, right? eBay has now sort of started to, like I said, I was surprised at the price of this. I'm very surprised, but I think this is probably a short. I mean, how many other private equity firms or anybody that's actually looking at eBay? So if we don't think that this is a realistic thing, this 7 or 8% bump here probably not warranted for eBay. So I would actually maybe look for a little bit of a short. I wanted to see when eBay actually reported, just to see if we can get in the way of this now. So I don't think they have already. Calendar here shows us that they're confirmed. Oh, we've already had it, April 29th. So they already had their earnings there. The EPS of 166, outpacing 158, a 20% surprise there, the year-over-year growth, a 5% surprise in EPS, and 21% year-over-year growth on EPS. So eBay actually right there with a big green report. So, helping this name get back to the upside. There's the 29th right there. So it gave us 4 or 5 straight up days. And then the news, I'd still like to fade this back through. I think a good long, it was probably going to break out anyways. So what about 107.50 or so for eBay? So I could actually see that happening today, come right back into this level. That's probably a long for me on eBay, 106, 107.50. I like that trade. Looked like it was going to break out potentially on good news. Here's a good news story. Whether or not it falls through or not, I don't know, but I like eBay down there at 107. I would rather have long eBay if they're the ones that they're going to fight over than worry about GameStop. So right now, eBay would be the trade for me on this story.
All right, let's continue along. Lots to come on the earnings side of things. As we said, PLTR, Palantir coming up after the close tonight. We have AMD tomorrow, Uber this week. Long list of important names, let's be honest, important names on the earnings side of things. Palantir going to be one of these, given all things DOJ and government related and Middle East related.
Speaking of DOJ, Brendo, we know that the Pentagon designated that Maven targeting system as, what do they call it? It's a program of record now. So why is that important? Because this program here, the Maven targeting system, basically was this sporadically funded experimental program. Now it's got sticky revenue coming from a government department. Look for more on that on the earnings call. Then I want to really stress here, remember that big £330 million deal that Palantir struck with the National Health Service in England? Well, there's a breakup clause there between the two parties, and I want to hear more about that as the geopolitical tensions between the two countries ramps up. We've seen Keir Starmer and President Trump kind of trading blows there. Then the non-agentic side to the use of AIP. That's their main platform there. So what's happening here? So a lot of agents are tapping into AIP. It's not being used directly by humans. That actually could change the way that Palantir bills rather than a per license, per human basis. It could actually be billed but based on tokens. However, it's being used agentically. Last but not least, we know that they have a lot of these boot camps, right? To kind of teach people how to use their AI systems, their Maven AIP. What metric we don't really report on, Brendo, is the conversion rate between the boot camps and people, or companies, I should say, that sign up. If the amount of companies signing up subsequent to the boot camp drops, it could be a leading indicator into basically how corporations are looking to spend. That's another thing to keep an eye on.
It's been basically back and forth here for the past couple of weeks going into this report. However, guys, for Palantir, stuck in this range still.
Well, you could say stuck in this range, but if there's one thing, all roads are aligning here because Sean's note, my note, and Tarif's note all say basically the same support level today. And I mean,
So that means it's wrong.
I know, but I see like a smile, Cheshire cat smile, rounded bottom, or whatever you want to call it. Friday, to me, it's actually even more about what happened. It's even more about on Friday when it had this 145 rejection, 145 resistance, and then you gap above it. First resistance turned to support for a little bit of a dip and rip. So that's where my mind is headed today. You know, just grip it and rip it, long in front of the 145. After the earnings, well, I mean, it would be a tremendous trend break if it's even slightly green. Because if you go from the all-time high and then the lower high, it's been holding this series of lower highs. So it's a bit of a trend break, but I feel like that aspect in terms of setting up a new upward trend will have to be after earnings. For today, it's just dip by into 145 as a technical level, and if they're able to hold over 150, to me, it's got like a good straight shot to the 200 period moving average in this 162. But we'll cross that bridge tomorrow, or well, maybe even tonight.
Yeah, maybe tonight. Yeah, exactly. As we talked about there, 145 there for Palantir earnings tonight. Looking to get long on Friday's close. I mean, I think it's pretty simple, straightforward stuff, man. I mean, we've seen these names really start to get popping through. I actually don't know what the we haven't looked in a minute. There's never really been a incredible short float on this thing. I'm just going to look it up. Yeah, today at 5 p.m. is a conference call. Earnings coming immediately right after the open or the close. Sorry. Yeah, it's only 3% short float on Palantir, so nothing right there. Good guess. Nothing really going on the short side of things. And then I just thought 145 coming into here. We had looked back and forth. Neil just sort of talked about it. I think with this Department of War, I do think that there's more competition coming. We've talked about that. If Palantir can get into 160 tonight, I'm selling more shares. I just think there's other names that I like right now that I can get behind. But I keep on going back to it. Last week it was upgraded by Dan Ives, and there was he has an ETF, and it's a big holding in there. It's also one of the largest holdings in many of the Cathie Woods ETFs as well. And it's just, there's still a lot of love for Palantir despite some of the headwinds. So for me, I'm going to just look to see what this report brings. Generally speaking, it hasn't moved really at all. So you could get an outpaced move. Adair will come with the implied moves, probably between like 8 to 10%, I would assume, for Palantir. So if we do get that back up to the upside, I'm just looking for guides more in the commercial space because, like I said, I'm worried about Anthropic and the footprint that that's been making with Claude and how that's going. A lot of people are saying that they're into a lot of business now. So that's something that Palantir's tried to get into. So when software as a service and there's competition, that squeezes margins, right? So Palantir's sort of been a lone wolf for a while. This name has gone from $8 2 years ago to $2.15. It's an absolute monster. Maybe it was 3 years ago, an absolute monster for Palantir. I just think, as I said before, I think the easy money's now over with. And so many other names right now are mooning, AMDs, all these chip names. I don't know if it's time for Palantir. It's had its time. So I think a 200 period take would be amazing. So if we get something like that, I think we're going to sell it. But for right now, going long on any dips for Palantir, I just would like to think that more traders would probably want to be long rather than short. And if you are short Palantir, you've already made quite a nice bit of change off of that, is because, look, like there's a high, we can't break it, we keep going lower with these highs. So right now, today's kind of a good look here for a potential trend break on these moves, right? I mean, I could draw a line if this would actually work, from here down to here. But looks like we might be breaking it above the 50-period moving average. I'm long Palantir today if we get a dip.
So we've been touching on it off and on throughout the morning. Here's the 15-minute chart of IBIT. We're giving it back already, this gap to the upside this morning. Daily chart on Bitcoin looking the same. I mean, it was a decent start, but we're right back below these resistance levels from Friday.
So geopolitical, headline sensitive, you feel like still a risk asset, nothing you can do but that. And we saw that more on the weekend because as soon as President Trump came out and, kind of coincided with Iran's de-escalation proposal, we saw a huge bump up in Bitcoin touching 80,000 dollars and making a 3-month high. What we didn't really see was the typical rally is, usually driven by slow accumulation. And this move saw 1.98 billion, Brendo, in taker volume in 2 hours on Binance. And that kind of is suggestive of, these institutional orders are not really setting up limit orders, stair-stepping up. They were kind of chasing the price there. So we'll have to see if that continues in today. And we always talk about, the IBIT, and that's North American inflows. But BlackRock has an ETF in Europe as well, a spot Bitcoin ETF, and that just crossed $1.1 billion AUM for the first time. So a nice geopolitical kind of participation for Bitcoin.
The good news, still holding higher overall on a shorter time frame, guys, for Bitcoin.
We've talked a couple times about Bitcoin, so I don't know if I want to go back to, but there's a comparison that I want to make here. Like if you look at IBIT, which breaking out a pretty, or upward trending and breaking at a pretty decent level.
Thank you, Rob. That was amazing.
Here. And then you look over at ETH. Like ETH lagging a bit. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. Got a little cup of Joe.
Yeah. Wow, that came quick. That was nice. Thank you, Rob.
Good man.
But the funny thing is I got this bear mug. So, oh man, I have only written down longs.
I got, you can't see it. Tasty coffee there.
One of our viewers sent, that was one of his businesses.
Which is, and we appreciate it. And anyways, just wanted to point out that the reason why I said if IBIT loses that support, I liked it 43.20 to 43.30, or sorry, 44.20 to 44.30. That if I looked for a short, we lose that level, it'd be much more interesting in BMNR because ETH has been weaker. Like ETH, no questions asked. It hasn't even broken past these local highs. It could get there today in a bit of a lag move, but if I'm seeing crypto fail, I want to be playing the long and the one that's breaking out and showing the uptrend. But if we lose that support level, I think there's a little more acceleration in like a BMNR to the downside. Which reminds me, I should probably pay for locates because that one's not free to short.
Yeah, I mean, Neil was just saying we talked about this a lot today, and we have. So I'm going to try to be quick with it. I always say this about IBIT, and I don't know why I don't do it. It's the same thing with USO or silver or anything like that. It doesn't really matter if the market opens up or not. Like, there's 44.50 area long, right? We write that down at 7:30, and so we wrote that down on the stick. Where does it bounce off of? Literally 450s, like 44.50. So it's already given you 25 cents. So that just gives me a little more confidence that if we do dip in, and remember, I wrote that down on the 200 period moving average. So like when we're over here looking at stock, I'm like, okay, well, if we dip into here, the 200 period also aligns sort of with Friday's close, although we did get a little under that, right? I think if you do go long, I'm wondering about like trying to hold that for 30 cents or so to make sure that you don't, get part of that. But at the end of the day, we've already bounced off the level that we like, so that makes me believe that there is some sort of a buyer there. That sort of looks like it's going to coincide with around 78,000. So if we could dip back into IBIT, into that area, I'm a buyer. I've already noted it down, right? Like I said, this was out actually, I don't know when this got out, but we write it down, and there it is, 44.50 area long, looking at Friday's close. We already ran into 80,000 this weekend. Let's see if we can do it again. It's IBIT. I like the stock, and it's just another one of those longs, despite me having a get your claws off my coffee cup right here. So cheers to Rob for bringing this in, but I'm bullish, not bearish, on crypto today. So. All right, 9:22, man, we still have a little ways to go here. 8 more minutes to go before this market opens, and some sort of a stock called oil. We're going to go find out what's going on with that. Moving around this pre-market, that's for sure.
Somebody's cooking.
Giving back the entire pre-market move here for USO, now at fresh lows, bouncing right now off 143 for USO, but we give back that entire early move. Scott Besson just saying the world as a whole currently in an 8 to 10 million barrel per day production deficit. That can't be good. You would think that would have caused a bit of a pop there for prices, but not yet anyway.
It makes you feel like even when when we are on the other side of this thing, prices are not going to rebound in the way that you and I would hope. Especially for drivers. Let's talk about this, guys, because President Trump over the weekend basically announced that U.S. Central Command will begin active military escort operations to guide stranded tankers out of the Strait of Hormuz. He said basically these are going to be neutral countries or ships tied to neutral countries that are not involved in the conflict. We'll have to see how that all pans out. Separately, the OPEC, now the 8-member OPEC group met over the weekend, and they agreed to a 206,000 barrel per day production hike. Market not really caring much about that because they know that UAE can actually increase on their own or decrease on their own. Now they're not part of it. And then this was really interesting to me. So satellite data from China, Brendo, super interesting, showed that they added 40 million barrels to their onshore storage tanks in the last 30 days alone. The implication here about them doing this is that they believe prices will remain higher for longer, and they're willing to pay at these elevated levels. You know, these are some of the highest prices we've ever seen to add this many to their strategic oil reserves. So I'd like to see, you know, their theory is higher for longer. Let's see if they're right.
I mean, at the end of the day, OPEC at least can make as much as they want. If they can't get it anywhere, that's, you know, a different story altogether. So right now, a negative story, definitely for prices this morning, guys.
Yeah, no question. And really, if you look at almost back half of last week, and then we'll see what happens today, but the last 3 days, there actually has been mostly buy support in oil. So despite the fact that the market is held up pretty decently, like from the open, it's mostly buying despite a down day. From the open, it's support on Thursday. On Wednesday, it was all to the upside. If we can buck that trend, and it looks like obviously it looks pretty heavy like it did on Friday after the gap up, but if we can buck that trend of just gradually rising all day, that's even more strength, I think, for the overall market to pay attention to. So I'm going to use it as, again, just like a little bit of a quick little indicator. Like if we pop into 145 resistance or the volume weighted average price, that's just a good spot to look for bounce longs at possible reversion levels in oil. So I'm going to continue to use it in that way, as opposed to trying to sit there trading it, guessing what the next eventual headline is going to be. Just a quick note on the imbalances. BlackBerry is gapped up, and they have like a 700,000 buy imbalance.
Yeah, I saw
Nokia
that.
with a 570. I don't recall if there was a story on BlackBerry. iBit with a 400,000 sell, so that might actually potentially give us the buy.
We just had it marked down as investor interest or something today.
Yeah, it's.
I know. Is there like a conference? Is there anything on BlackBerry, Adara there? BB? I don't know.
It just
it did make our note.
It made the note because it was gapped up and it has that NVIDIA collaboration, but there was no specific new headline that we saw.
Yeah, we did see, okay, so yeah, Brandon just talked about oil. We've kind of hit that one. This is a cloud marketing, this Zeta. I mean, a lot of people talking about it. I just saw it again. Adair did get back to me on it. There's a lot of social media talk about it after its most recent earnings play. I'm going to try to find out like why everybody really loves this stock. But again, a marketing cloud business. There's ZETA, and it's another little bit of a talk about it there. It's not like it's doing a whole bunch of volume, but 250,000 shares here in the pre-market could get it going. All right, we've already talked. Oh yeah, there's BB. So maybe we can get that again. I didn't realize that was on the board. So we can go talk to these guys about it. But again, BlackBerry, GameStop, AMC, all these kind of names, always willing to move. We just got to have a catalyst. So let's go back over to the board. We now have a minute and a half left, or sorry, 3.5 minutes left until the bell opens. But let's go get a story from BlackBerry, and then we'll see some key levels, and we'll get ready to open this market up, baby. It's Monday.
Partially riding coattails here, it seems, anyways, over the past couple of weeks on the momentum of some of these other names. GME, obviously completely unrelated this morning, but just for a rehash here, here's the collaboration with NVIDIA, focusing on integrating their QNX OS for Safety 8.0 with NVIDIA IGX Thor. So that was going back 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, I want to say, on that news story anyways. But I mean, it seems to be the catalyst still. 275
million vehicles is apparently how many are this QNX system is installed in. Not a bad look here, looking to obviously expand that deal with NVIDIA. I don't really have much to say on this other than the stock is up 43% year to date. Keep an eye on the technicals, I guess.
and as I said, maybe riding some coattails of some of these other, social media stocks if you want to, guys.
Well, yeah, maybe that could be part of it, but like you get the partnership's not a nothing story, right? Like
no, it's a good one. They need to reinvent, yeah.
And if you're going to throw on top of that any shorts that are still active in this have been getting blown out, you throw on top of that you are back at last year's highs, which I guess it wouldn't be 52-week highs or 52-week highs because that's February, but there's a potential breakout looming. The one thing that I don't love about it, like look at this weird channel it's in. Weird down channel, all pre-market here. Lower highs, somewhat lower lows without breaking that $6 level. So the one setup that would look good would be a false break of 6. Right, you just get an opening bottoming tail candle at the $6, immediately hold, and then get above VWAP. Because if it doesn't get, you're not scaring any shorts on a gap up if it just loses the volume weighted average price and trends down all morning. So without that kind of a setup, this one might end up being a little bit of a pass for me. I did note that there was a buying balance there of 700,000 shares. Maybe that gets it a little bit of a, whoops, so you can't see because my head's in the way. Buy and balance of 700,000 shares there on BlackBerry. That's not a tremendous amount. It's done $3 million in the pre-market, but could be enough to give it a little bit of a bounce. One thing we didn't get to, which might make the move now with less than a minute to go, Intel. Intel failed $100 on Friday a couple times. It got to just underneath, like about 99.85 or 86 already once in the pre-market. To me, it needs to follow through the $0.50. If it doesn't break 100.5 and fails a 100 break off the open, then I want to play a quick reversion on that. So we're looking at that, IBIT, Palantir, eBay, because I think if eBay gets up and above VWAP, I'm going to look to see if I can't short some highs on that name. Ooh. As we get into the opening bell for the first time, may the 4th be with you, everybody. We'll have Palantir after the closing bell, but we got a whole day of trading to get to first.
All right, here we go, man. The market is now open as we get ready to rock and roll. The name that I have on the list that would be my first take would be Google. We did write down 385, but again, taking it very first thing in the open can be pretty dangerous. So we're going to hold off just a little bit, watching out for Google right now to come right back in, and there it is, breaking through 385. Just trying to watch to see, like, you know, last week we were playing some names early that didn't work out. We took Amazon a little bit too many shares too early, but that 385 once more just would have been a gem, as it just, I mean, we were just talking about it, so let's not, you know, count our chickens before they hatch, but there's a 385 hold and take higher there on Google. Just to start the day, Advanced Micro Devices caught a downgrade today. I never understood that, and there it goes straight up to the upside again. We were looking at AMD. We wrote it down on our list right here at 355 long. We never came into that, so that could be something that we look for on a dip buy opportunity there for AMD. Google flirting with that low now again, Neil, as it just broke through. Again, the market may be trying to get a little lower. Okay. A name that goes bump in the morning and in the night is Tesla. So we can definitely see if, I got to get rid of that wick there, but we can see what Tesla winds up doing, 387 or so. And then Intel's just appointed a new vice president. So, okay, not the story that we're all looking for with Intel, but for right now, maybe potentially moving down underneath VWAP, underneath. Will Intel be 90 or 105 first? I don't know, but it looks like it may be pulling back in. And maybe there's that top candle at $100. We've seen NVIDIA pull off 200 as well, right? So Intel with that one, and looks like you're looking at GME, so that's another name that was...
Well, I was just looking at eBay and GME because eBay was getting waxed to the downside off the open. Thought maybe GameStop could be breaking out and going in the other direction, but it's not. GameStop not really moving. I thought eBay was going to be a pop and fade. Oh, okay, never mind. Now eBay's starting to rally a little bit here. So it is starting to get to the upside. If this can get into, if it gets to VWAP and curls, that's the first place I'd look, or the 115 high. I want to be patient with this as some profit takers coming in. Might have missed a chance on Intel. I thought it would break 100 and fail. It didn't actually break $100, but there is a topping tail candle.
I'm trying to go short if we get back up there, but
that's what I'm saying. Like I thought we'd break it, and the short would be like 100 to 100.5, but we might not get up there. Let's go to Adara for the first time.
Let's go.
I have more details on the Intel story if people are interested. Again, not a massive mover, but some stuff of interest here. Intel appointing former Qualcomm executive Alex Katuzian as executive vice president and general manager of client computing and physical AI. So 2 interesting segments here for INTC. Again, Qualcomm, former Qualcomm executive here, Alex Katuzian, being appointed to that EVP position. Then you've got Pushkar Renate being appointed Chief Technology Officer. Now, the CTO appointment is a lot less significant when you learn that Pushkar Renate was already named interim CTO, so it looks like that position now just being made permanent. Again, some executive announcements here for INTC. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. Bitcoin is not moving at all, which I guess we get used to this on IBIT, where at the open, it's pretty quiet, but quiet can be good if the market's going down. We're just sort of sliding off of some prior highs. There's just not enough movement to get involved yet. Palantir, I don't want to shift yet, but there's no point sitting down there if we're not going to get any fills. It's trying to make a run at the high. If it ends up taking out the high, then there could be some higher lows to play off to try to catch this one to the upside. Oh, Roblox was on my note today, 47 fade.
Oh, really? Roblox.
Well,
okay.
Roblox had a monster. Well, okay, fine. Roblox was down a bunch, but it had a monster open on Friday and then turned right at the 47. It was also an aftermarket level. So I'm looking for like maybe a pop and fade here at the 47 level. But it's got to show you. It's got to show you the turn first. So that one actually could come in there. You get this one to the upside. Good recovery day. Halfway recovery day for Roblox.
Jeez.
If it can bust through 47, great. But I'd be looking for a topping tail candle there first. Yeah, nothing crazy popping off. Just might have missed that chance at the Intel short, though.
Yeah, Intel short I'm still waiting for. I don't know. I'm up at near 99. Yeah, Palantir missed an opportunity as well. I mean, we had the longs written down there for Palantir. It doesn't come into the levels, but it does come into the 200 period. And I wrote down 145. And you know what? Like looking back at this, when we had wrote that down, you know, obviously it was a 200 period play as well, but it was more looking to see if we could somehow hold, you know, some of these levels. So didn't want to necessarily get in at 148. I thought that that would have been a little bit too early there. Sorry, 146.50. Now we're at 148. So we'll see if Palantir does want to pull back in. And then that Google long as well at 85. You can see it's pretty choppy right here. If anything, I'm thinking about going into that short. You just did mention Intel, of course, and oh shoot, yeah, okay, we're not even.
Gone.
Yeah, we're not even close to that right now. So we do need a decent pop-up to get short into that one. Another name that's been going hard pretty much as well as Marvell. That's still green today into a red market. So, you know, potentially we did have a big win on Marvell last week. We could definitely have a look there as it just made its lows right into, you know, again, the close from Friday. So some levels starting to get hit here. What about then just going short the market? If a lot of these names are going to try to give it up. I mean, Palantir is now breaking through the high of the day, so that one potentially gone. The NASDAQ kind of not doing anything, right? I mean, let's wait. We always talk about VWAP being a key level. We'd like to see it dance around it for a little bit. It's now 935. We could probably think about getting aggressive with it now, so I'm going to try maybe a short, as most of the names that Neil and I are looking at have given it up a little bit, and if the market doesn't have AMD with it today, it doesn't have Intel with it today, does it have NVIDIA with it? 200, yeah, NVIDIA's going up, right? Yeah, NVIDIA's blasting. Okay, what about the other big ones here? It's hard to go short the NASDAQ if you're going to be fighting big names. That's for sure. So Apple downside, okay, I don't need to worry too much about Microsoft. So it looks like the big one is going to be NVIDIA, which is playing off a little different than the other names. Well, yeah, Palantir's not going to affect the NASDAQ too much, but yeah, Microsoft upside. So maybe a mixed bag right here to get involved with the NQs. Underneath VWAP, underneath the 200 period moving average, but not a horrible spot to think about it, but would like to see a little more movement here on the NASDAQ to give us a definition. But hey, do we blast Palantir through 150? I mean, a key level for sure, just by the number, but right here, 150, 150.60s, 151, maybe a high, but here we go. They're buying up Palantir, baby, and here it goes.
Bye-bye.
PLTR to the moon. Just too bad we didn't get involved earlier on that one. We'll see. Maybe we break 150 and we take it. I don't know. We took Intel breaking 100 and it took like 10 minutes for it to eventually go. So I don't know about Palantir up here.
I don't know, like a breakout. Not the way the market is headed to the downside. Did actually get eBay, not at VWAP, but as it came back through the 110.5. But oh shoot, sticky keys. Let me just get that off for a second. I wasn't even holding it down. I swear that thing just pops up out of nowhere. You guys see me turn that off. No, I didn't get this at VWAP, but I had it coming right back through the quarter level. Instantly, buyers showed up at 109. When it's some kind of a deal, you do have to keep your eye on the acquirer. And at that moment, like GameStop was breaking out the high. So quick little scalp trade, but you don't want to be fighting a short when it's a 50-50, right? Like the offer is 50%. Stock and 50% cash. So if GameStop is going to be going higher, I might let that slow down a bit before taking a second shot at eBay. And here comes IBIT to the downside. Now you're starting to get a little bit of movement here. The market was basically doing nothing but suddenly going down, and Bitcoin was holding the highs. If it's going to dip, like I like 44.3 as an area a bit more, but if we can't get down there and we start bouncing off VWAP, then might just have to take that. So I'm not gonna jump into that PLTR too early. And as far as Intel goes, there's always a continuation play. maybe a bounce, a short into pre-market lows and the volume weighted average price. If we're not, I'm not going to be chasing this at the LOD. No chance.
You know what's going on? We're finally back into the money right now on Big Bear AI. So there it is, man. You guys know we're long at that magical price of 420-ish.
Tomorrow.
Is it my 7th or my 5th? Yeah, I can't remember. We'll look up BBAI. I think is it tomorrow, Dara, BBAI? Yeah, tomorrow after hours. So we'll see if these guys can, continue to increase its well-being in our portfolios. So we'll see if Big Bear AI, another name that I like, that we've been liking for a minute, obviously, there, as well as another name, Eli Lilly. I'm just talking my own portfolio here. We're going to show the game again. I hope Joe's beating me because I want him to feel good about everything. 970 right there. We'll see if we can pop through that level again there. As Neil said, I'm waiting for 44.50s on IBIT. That's not coming through. I want to wait for a top tick on Intel. That's not coming through. So if anything, man, I'm still waiting for something here. I could go short, but it wouldn't be for very long. And I wonder if we're going to get stopped out there with the NASDAQ. It's just not getting anything exciting right there. Yeah, NVIDIA, hold. NVIDIA, will it hold? Hard question to answer for sure in this early goings. But yeah. I would say forget about the 200 level. Look for these bottom, not the very bottom wicks, but it looks like right here, that closing candle right there is 198.70s, 199. So I think like 198.50 might be some sort of well, that's exactly where it was. Okay, well, when you zoom in, you see it. 198.50 may be a little bit of a better closing area to get long on if NVIDIA does fall back through 2 bills. But I would say good so far, man. To answer your question, David, yeah, like VWAP is there, the 50 period is there. Looks like it wants to support it in a relatively blah market right here. NVIDIA goes hee-haw up to the upside, now up 1%. Thank you, everybody, for watching, man. Make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit all of that. CoreWeave reports as well. Hey, you know what? The biggest number this week has nothing to do with earnings. It's Friday's job report. So Friday's job report is what's going to send this market one way or the other. And I think if it's a little light, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get cut, baby. So get ready for more cut talk depending on what happens on Friday.
Or the biggest number is just wherever DRAM is.
Yeah, or DRAM at SNDK. Is that like $1,500 yet SNDK?
I think it's Micron that's most of the...
$1,240? So this is 20% higher than that little game that Joe and I played. And I was just like, let's just go randomly. This name for some reason, it's right here. This name for some reason got down to 1,000 flat on earnings. And they're like, haha, joke's on you. And then boom, up now 25% from that earnings day, which was just Thursday. Okay, so that's what's happening right now. And just despite not us...
I think it's led today by Micron, though. Today, Micron seems like it's the...
Yeah, I mean, you're just sort of throwing darts at either one of those names. I think no matter what, you're getting 180. But Beyond Meat, right there, I don't know if they're discussing this with the U.S. Army or not anymore, but this got to about 115, now back below $1. Just bring that to your attention because the dollar break is always a nice one there for BYND. And it's a good thing that we did not short the market because there it is right now, right into the highs one more time as there we go. Your NVIDIA calls and all that is probably printing right now. So BYND over $1. We'll see if that can get there. NVIDIA most likely blasting higher. There it goes, man, as this market is on one. And Palantir, once again, stops stone cold Steve Austin at 149.50. We'll see if that one wants... Thank you, Joe. As that one comes through there, not drinking beers is Palantir yet, but up 3.5%. We'll see if Alex Karp tips one off tonight with what should be a great call. The guy's very, very eclectic and should definitely be pumping the tires of his business. Tesla right there, 392. Another name, founder-led, man. We talked about liking founder-led businesses. Tesla is definitely one of those, as is PLTR.
One technically did not found Tesla, which I'm saying because I know the chat will say it, and it is true. He technically did not found Tesla.
Okay, but it doesn't matter for this example. When you think about Tesla, you only think about one individual. I don't think any of us knows any other executives other than Adara in Tesla. So right now, here goes Tesla, upside again, 388 to 394. We'll see if it winds up holding it. As there it goes again, man. We'll see if it has a $400 marker on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of indecision here in this market.
Yeah, I can't even find a trade that I like right now.
The only thing that was on the list that's actually remotely setting up would be trying to get eBay off VWAP again. Like, that's about it. It looks like it just put in a lower high off the topping tail, so that could be a play. But you got to watch, like, GameStop's only now starting to come back. So that's the thing. Like, it turned around when GameStop made a topping tail candle there at $26. Intel doesn't seem like anything. Bullish on IBIT, but what's it telling me to do right now? Nothing. Like, IBIT's not moving. There's no higher highs or higher lows. Nothing. It hasn't broken out the top. It hasn't dipped into pre-market lows. Really nothing going on there. And Palantir, for all of its strength, it hasn't run the 150, hasn't really pulled back to give a 47 look. It might just be Roblox. Like, Roblox, I wanted to wait till it got to the 47 level, but it's starting to indicate there could be a little bit of a turn early. I'm trying not to force the action here because it's not quite at resistance.
I found something
yet on Roblox.
I found SoFi. I think SoFi might be a little interesting for me here because it's up today a little bit and it's it is pulling back. We'll sit there at 53, see if we can get a couple hundred shares, just start off with here and see what happens with SoFi. We're not getting any fills down there. Okay, there it is. We just get one there as we run the whole gauntlet there for SoFi. So we'll try it there. Coming into the 200 period moving average right now at 148. Pre-market lows, I feel like we'd want to hold it to that, not to this, but to this little break spot right there, 40s. So we'll average in a little bit here into SoFi. Not, like I said, not going to be anything that's too hero-based, but just a little bit of a pullback. You can see a little bit of a pullback in the market. This name has been pretty good off the lows, but then we just get that big move on earnings right back in. Same as Robinhood. Robinhood also upside. Robinhood's up 3% today, so that's actually doing much better, obviously, than SoFi right now. But yeah, this we'll play the dip buy here and see if it wants to hold. We just did get a dip there. We're now long at 49s, so we'll see if we can get just a little bit of an uptick here on SoFi as we play a dip buy. We'll see if we can get 5 or 6 cents. Remember, our stop was going to be a break of 40, so we can almost put that in right now, 16.39. I'll just stop out. Let's stop out of 75% of it. There it goes. Nice upside play here. So we're going to take a trade in SoFi. We'll get another offer at 56 if we can get that. And then there you go, man. So about 1-to-1 now, as we'll see if we can take 8 cents on this. And then, watch out for that downside risk. SoFi, the first trade today for myself, and we'll see if it can there it is. We get a 56 print. So let's go SoFi. Good levels there. We talked about it. Let's see if we can get back up to the highs. Next offer for me, let's go like around the 65 marker. See if we can actually make a decent trade here on SoFi.
Yeah, good one. And I might just try to get back over to eBay. It's still the only thing it's setting up outside of that Roblox first shot.
There it is. Yeah.
Like, it just took out that pre-market high. We got the lower high we wanted, but now you're starting to gravitate towards 47. So waiting for it to get a little bit higher, I think, is going to make a little more sense. A little bit of a pop there. In eBay, it just continues to put in these lower highs. So scalping to the low is going to be a continual thing here. And remember, keep an eye on GameStop. Like, GameStop is still pulling back. If I see GameStop bounce off of VWAP and start to go higher, then scalp out of eBay. Pretty simple. Again, half stock, half cash there. And it doesn't mean they have to move together, it just means they're likely to move together. Palantir's just bounced so clean off the volume-weighted average price here. It looks like it's headed to that 150. If it gets there again, we're not getting the lows. 145 is a pipe dream at this point on Palantir, so it's going to have to be a VWAP or a pre-market low trade if we're going to get involved in the long. Don't want this to get completely away from me here on Palantir. But as GameStop gets into that volume-weighted average price, going to try and take the scalp out here in front of the 109. If I get like 50 pennies on this, fair enough. We'll take what we can get because anytime GameStop bounces, got to get out of the short of eBay. Adara?
I just want to mention this because I'm seeing a couple people mention it in our chat, but UPS and FedEx both getting hit pretty hard this morning. This was mentioned on our watch list, but Amazon is launching this Amazon Supply Chain Services. This is being viewed as kind of putting them into more heightened and direct competition with UPS and FDX. So again, FedEx and United Parcel Service to the downside as Amazon appears to compete more heavily with both companies. UPS, as you can see, at intraday lows below that 100 level, actually trying to crack below 99s. Here is FDX, FedEx. This one also near day's lows. Back to you.
Okay. Thanks, Adara, for that. Yeah, so, I mean, we're working out. We just got the one trade so far, SoFi. We did get our 63. I'm going to wait at 66 to get out of a little bit more, just 10% more. I'm actually out right now of just over probably about 35%, about a third out right now of SoFi. And maybe probably won't, well, I would reload it actually if it does come in because it's been so far so good on that one. A quick look at USO. And we have our ear to the ground. I mean, welcome everybody to the show. We've got Adara here with us. So any sort of a news break on, you know, anything Department of War related or the Strait or anything that's moving around with oil, we'll definitely be here to talk about it. I mentioned trying to go short oil if that does come through. So I still like the VWAP area here, 144.50, something like that, even 144 right there for USO. I almost said OIH there. So SoFi is still trying to go. That's the only trade that I have based on. And I'm looking like, why I keep looking up here is I have my little scanner right here, and that's why we talk about USOs on there, Occidental, maybe SMR showing up. I haven't even looked at this stock yet, so 1224, maybe it was. And again, a lot of these breaks early and stuff like that are just VWAP hits, you know, or 200 periods. So it looks like right here, SMR is down there. It's hard to look at these stocks early, like there's Marvell. So I let it sort of develop before I actually check out the scanners for a lot of the stuff that I'm using right now, because it does take a minute to make sure that VWAP is holding and things like that. So Marvell 164, there it is, a nice little breakdown on that name. Google, did it wind up holding that 285? Because no, not even close. So that was a good runaway from us on that one. The reason why I liked Google, I thought, again, we had Michael Noss on. He was talking about, you know, some of these extended markets and maybe, you know, seeing a top and then what the play would be. And then Brendan quickly sort of said, well, but that means it's 70 or 80% the other way. But for right now, it looks like we are pulling back a little bit off of some of those highs. So definitely worth a little look there would be Google if we did get back up there. I am going to cash out just a second here. We're not breaking through this 65, so if I can get a 62, we'll take it. Not to throw this back at Neil, but he actually looked at it. I haven't looked at it.
It's a Canadian quantum name.
Yeah.
That there was like an offering of, I think it was like 290. I forget the exact number. I'd have to find the story again, but there was actually a news story, and I believe it was an offering of decent size, and that's the reason they're down. It is halted to the upside currently, but it's down 60-something% on that. So think of it like a Canadian, I don't know, like Rigetti or something along those lines. I don't know anything fundamentally about it, although oddly enough, I happen to know somebody who is in this thing long term. I found that out today, unfortunately for them. But it sucks to be them. They are halted upside on a volatility halt. Very quickly, though, on eBay, it just keeps on catching these little bounces. So it bounced off the 109. Remember I said I bid it out in front of 109. Bounced off the 109. Going to look for another short in here. And then every single time we get a pop, try to scalp short this sucker. And then just going back over to IBIT. Like the NASDAQ is holding out above VWAP and looking like it's a slight decent trend to the upside so far. Like it's nothing crazy, but we're slightly holding out into the upside. So if we get to the pre-market support at 44.5, I might start there. But once we break this volume weighted average price consolidation, I'm just going to go for that long as well. So just break this little consolidation out, and I'll take that first shot over there in IBIT. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep scalping if we can get some shorts in that eBay trade. And from Adam James abroad, greetings from Mexico.
There he goes, guys everywhere.
AMD come down at 180.
Well,
come on, son.
Come on, son. What do you think it is? Last April? Come on, man. What do you think? You can get a $200 discount on this thing? I think it's possible, right? I mean, it first has to happen with a horrible report, and that has to come tomorrow. So we got to.
That'd be one heck of a horrible report.
Yeah, but I think that's where it starts. You know,
yeah,
I mean, you could be down 10%, you know, and then sort of it starts to open up a little bit. But I really think that, Adam, unfortunately, I mean, enjoy Mexico City, but I just really think that AMD is just one of those names that right now, until the tides eventually turn, right, and they will, right? Like a lot of these names will come back in. I think we've all missed this boat. I mean, this kind of a dramatic move is not something that we would expect from an AMD. But you already called. You looked at it the other day. It was like 600 billion. Or something. It's not even like a huge, no, not even that much, I don't think. It's not a huge, yeah, it's not a huge market cap even yet. But yeah, the PEs are definitely not aligned right now. We'll see if it can live up to its valuation come tomorrow night. So Advanced Micro Devices, 180 would be like, well, it's funny to say come back into 180. That's just where it was a month ago. So, I mean, to think that it could come back in to where it was a month ago, normalcies would be, you'd be like, yep, that can for sure happen. But in this market, it does not seem like it these days. All right, let's go over to Palantir one more time. As we did, I guess we did a good job getting a little bit out of SoFi there in the 60s again, because it's now back down to 57. Still a decent win there on 10 cents, but we're coming back in nicely now on the market. Here comes Palantir. We've already bounced off the 200 period moving average. So, hey man, talk about a name coming back in. It's Palantir's time right now, back into 147. I'm gonna take a shot here at 147.50 on PLTR. We have our stop in for SoFi, so if that goes bust, we're there for that. But Palantir, let's put a little bit of a trade on right now in the 40s. Well, we got, what do we get, 39? So we're gonna start our long here on Palantir, just looking to see if it breaks through that low of the day. We're back at the 200 period moving average. Because it's earnings, because it's where it is, I think it's worth giving this one just a little bit more room than the 200. So I'm gonna just put my stop in right now. And let's get out of 75% of it if we break below this 146.39. Again, the reason why I'm not getting out of 100%, still a little early, and I don't wanna make a dramatic out only to see it bump up. At least if it does do that, then we have a little bit left on board. I'll take advantage of this real quick. We just made 30 cents. There it is. Yes, sir. Spin it. So we'll go 2 for 2 there today. Good little move there on Palantir as we buy 47s there. We get out at 74s. So, I don't know, 25 cents, not huge. There it is. There goes Palantir right now. Could it be $1 as we're starting to go upside right through 148? Put another offer out right now at 98s. And there it goes, man. Just as quick as you like. That's a 1 minute trade. And now we're in the money 61 cents and trying to go a little higher there on PLTR. We found one and we're trading it. It's Palantir so far. So good. We'll put another offer on SoFi. But here goes Palantir, man. Quick as you like, dollar club potential here on PLTR. So good one there. Is that where it is now? Oh, man.
98.5. I was looking at Apple, actually, believe it or not. Are we good to buy now? NVIDIA's been a dog recently. So my first thought is it hasn't been the right name to be in the chip space recently. Yet there's another fail of about $202. There's been support prior at 198, but this is weak relative to the market. I don't think this is necessarily the one I'd be excited in for the dip buy. Maybe look somewhere else. I'm looking at Intel if we can get our chance now at this one failing underneath VWAP. Lower high got put in. Want to see if we can punch through, like hold this 98.5 underneath and then short it. eBay's kind of getting away from me here. It was having successive bounces to fade, but it's not bouncing anymore, and that could be GameStop's fault. But it did put a bottoming tail, so the next available pop, I'm still going to reshort this one if we get the chance. But I'm actually looking in the other direction on, well, at least on Intel. And I don't know if I'd be a huge fan of that NVIDIA. NVIDIA just looks so weak, relatively speaking. But Intel actually catching a bit. So it's not closing under VWAP. That doesn't really signal an entry for me. iBit has never signaled any entries. And I'm now putting Apple on the radar because it's getting really close. I'm surprised Apple is this weak, but Apple could be filling in the gap from Thursday's highs just underneath 275. So that's a huge resistance level turning into potential support here. Is Apple down 1.5% into a flat market? Yeah, I like buy the dip in Apple. And it's getting pretty close, but $1 away from that entry. All right,
Yeah, like 70 cents now in. A Palantir does go up there. We did get our fill. Our best fill is just here at 148. It does go into 148.25s. So now I have an offer there. Let's see if that wants to work out. SoFi, so we just took some more out at VWAP here at 57. We've got a couple fills. We're still going to wait for that one to sort of get into it, man. We did see CoreWeave really starting to go earlier today, and I think we sort of identified that CoreWeave's earnings was this week. Am I wrong on that one? Yeah, okay, so here goes CoreWeave. Right now, we'll call that up in 3 days from now. So as we just heard in the back there, Thursday, May the 7th, we'll see if CoreWeave can come up with something. And it looks like right now, they're buying it just to make sure that it does go. So there goes CoreWeave. Nice move up, 8% today. I don't think, Adair, there's an individual story today on CoreWeave or anything, but definitely making them dollars back there to the upside. Okay, we gave SoFi a little bit of a room. Okay, nothing, so thanks, Adara. We did give SoFi a little bit of a room to breathe, so we'll get out some 61s here. Or do we get 60 half there? I don't know, I punched out. So a little bit there as that comes back up to the upside. So far, so good on buying dips here today. Although it doesn't look like, I mean, oops, that's SoFi. Palantir, We're still doing pretty good, but I'm going to take another piece here at 64 because it's coming back in. We just did give a pretty good rejection at VWAP there. So, man, we're definitely not reloading it at this price. We may try a little bit more at 147, but we're still going to use this as our out. Don't like that. I thought we were going to go. We would really, there we go. We get some pressure out there at 60s, but 65. I did think that VWAP could probably take. The fact that it didn't, it's a little bit, I don't want to say scary, but nervous for sure. What's
going on here with Circle?
12%. Well, crypto.
So I suspect that this is
not moving.
This is up because we had that crypto bill, the Clarity Act. There were some concerns about this. Those concerns led to that big drop in Circle a couple months ago. Now, apparently, those concerns have been dealt with. So that's very likely why CRCL is to the upside. That would be my guess or intuition based on what I know of the situation prior and what we got from this as of Friday.
All right, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Because I'm seeing absolutely nothing happening in crypto in general. There has just been an absolute nothing burger. Like Bitcoin, I thought was going to be something, anything. We're still holding inside of the range. And if you thought Bitcoin was going to be on your list, then this is just not the day at all. Absolutely ridiculous. Still waiting for Apple to get down some lows. The market's still holding up pretty well. You can see it still dropping. Once it fills in the gap, maybe gets into 275, and that looks a little bit more interesting. ELPW just halted. So we do have a, whoops, no.
Whoopsie.
ELPW, there we go. Not EPLW. Halted to the upside for small cap traders. The second one today, I believe. And yeah, second halt of the day, done a couple million shares in here. The tap currently flat.
Now we're coming. Oh, what the hell? I got Intel short? Oh my God, I forgot about Intel.
Intel is coming back up to that 100 level.
Yeah,
it's not there yet. It's like the high's like 99.80, but it hasn't put in that topping tail yet. So going to be patient with this. Palantir could come in for a bit of a fill, and still waiting for a chance to get back into eBay. eBay's just not popping anymore. It was putting in pretty distinct lower highs, but there hasn't been that pop anywhere close to the volume weighted average price. Maybe in front of 110, we'll be able to pick that up. 10 o'clock just hit. We're going to go to Adair. We've got factory orders and happening now.
Yes, guys, indeed, it is time for happening now. And these numbers, number here today is going to be, as mentioned, factory orders month over month, 1.5% above estimates of 0.4% here, and that's going to be for the month of March. So again, higher than expected. Factory orders ex transportation, 1.6%. We're noted actually revision here. So 0.3% was the revision here for March, or for, I guess, for February here versus 0.4%, which was the prior February print. But again, March factory orders month over month, 1.5%. Factory orders ex transportation, 1.6%. So both of these here coming in above the forecast and above the prior prints. Let's take a look here at this S&P 500 continuing to kind of trade near that pre-market support high, I guess, of that 720 level. We'll take a look at the NASDAQ, see how this one is doing. NASDAQ actually at intraday highs. So both of these, again, just continuing to wedge higher on the day. We're also, of course, monitoring oil and USO. More headlines coming out of the Middle East, of course, this back and forth as to whether or not Iran did actually hit a U.S. ship. That was going on this morning. President Trump also saying he wasn't interested in the most recent Iran deal as of last night. Let's take a look. Palantir is going to be on watch tomorrow after the bell tonight after the bell. They have their earnings report, so we'll watch them tomorrow for earnings day one. Keep an eye on this stock. GME also in focus here alongside eBay. Ryan Cohen, CEO of GME, has announced the company has put an unsolicited $125 per share bid on eBay that values eBay at roughly $56 billion. EBAY here currently trading around $109, so below that $125 price that I guess GameStop is offering. eBay's post-market high as of Friday when this first came out was only $120, so it never quite got to that $125 per share price as far as we can tell. Again, Palantir, Duolingo, Pinterest, all reporting earnings after the bell. Back to you.
All right, as you can tell by that report, markets have been extremely active lately. For traders, this kind of environment creates, of course, opportunity, and big moves means more setups, which requires more momentum. But to really take advantage of these conditions, you need two things, of course, discipline and capital. And that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account and firm capital, they can execute your strategy and manage risk. No more fear of blowing up your own personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you've been worried worried about your own savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, get into tradethepool.com by scanning that QR code right there on your screen, and please insert the code TraderTV to get your 10% off. Okay, we tried Intel there, and it was kind of a mistake, but we tried to correct it a little bit. We got in and got out again, but right there at these highs for Intel, it doesn't look like it wants to go any lower at this point. So I stopped out before we got into that $100 marker. We're kind of at that pre-market level. Obviously, we can see that, up here. We talked about 101 possibly as being a little bit of a high, but I think we keep on wicking higher here and then stopping. So I'm going to, once again, just try to go a little light now into this, and this use 99.50 as our stop. So, I mean, that's been right there, 99.40. So let's get a little lighter into this one and see if it does wind up working out for us. We can maybe take a little bit more there and wait to get into like 99.25. We'll see if we can short a little bit more into that area, and then watch out for that 99.50 break higher on INTC. I like it for a move. We'll just see if it winds up holding out for us right now. Palantir was good, and then it wasn't. We got out of 75% there on that move, that break lower. So let's see if Palantir wants to wind up holding there. And this is why we try to hold a little bit of it, just so we didn't get it all out there. But maybe getting it all out might be a good play. So we'll see if it does bounce. That was the pre-market low right now for PLTR. Market might want to come a little bit lower, so we'll have to watch out here for that trade as that one goes against us a little bit there. SoFi, we got more outs, man, as that continues, and we did not reload yet. So I don't think a reload on SoFi is going to be in the cards for me right now. But Intel short is what we've got on. It's my biggest position. And then Palantir, we only got 25% left. So we'll see if that one can make some moves, hopefully higher, and we can make back what we lost there. But it's Intel short is what we have on right now for the bigger position for myself.
Can't will IBIT into making a move to the upside. And as a matter of fact, it just continues this downward trend. So it went over and said if it's going to turn into a short, I wanted to be short on BMNR was the take. And it put in the topping tail. So that's what set up. I can think that the first trade was going to be long on IBIT, but got to respect what I'm seeing happening. So BMNR are going to try to play it back into the volume weighted average price as long as we hold on to that weakness over there in IBIT. And then if I find a long somewhere down around 44.3, obviously I'd want to get out of BMNR by then. You can see ETHA underneath VWAP and falling as well. So like if you're looking at the crypto space, it's like Circle is strong, and I don't know what else is going to be strong, but he's going to play the scalp trade because that's what eventually set up. And I'm with you on Intel. I just haven't gotten, I didn't get filled. What am I sitting at, 42? Yeah, I just haven't gotten filled, but it looks to me like this is trying to break the trend up here. And already wicked once through 99.5. I might nibble at 20s if I can get it. There, because I think playing it tight and then back into the volume weighted average price makes a little bit of sense. But weird. Again, I can think that the first trade was going to be a long on IBIT, but it ends up being a topping tail on BMNR and then shorting that stock. So we'll play it into low. Already got half out into VWAP. We'll see if we get any follow through. The market hasn't done anything crazy today, which is weird. I thought. Yeah,
no, it's been a pretty light day.
Considering
earnings were big last week.
Yeah, considering all the earnings that we had. You had names that were absolutely flying around, and there was so much momentum on Friday.
Intel, break yourself, fool.
Oh,
here we go. Yes, okay, good.
Down.
Nice move now there for Intel. So here we go, man. We've been watching this name for a minute, so here we go. Let's see how low we can go right now on Intel. So nice move lower here as we keep go. And this is what I talked about, man. I said this is going to be my heaviest position, and it is. So there we go. Let's see how low we can get right now on Intel. Hopefully it does get lower. Okay, here we go, man. Into the 75 area now. Let's just keep on holding out that we can get back into that view up of 98.40s. We don't have too many bids out though right now, so we better put them out. We just missed that 98.75 fill there, so far so good on this move. We are going to wait to get stopped out of our good friend there, SoFi, but let's put some more orders out on Palantir as we wait for that move down on Intel. But yeah, man, there it is. We were just fighting Intel. There we go. We get some more Palantir. We were fighting Intel for a minute, man, up there, and we did get stopped out there at 99.40. We just raised it just a little bit. But so far, so good. We'll just wait to see where we go from here on INTC for right now.
Yeah, that actually worked out really well. Although I was sitting on the bid, and thank goodness we got out.
Chef Boyardee.
I was sitting on the bid for not the amount of shares for more shares that I was short. Instantly just hit offer enter and then got picked up on the offer. But the short's definitely working out. I was able to get 99, I think 20 something, but they're buying it right back up.
It came right back up
like,
anyways, so.
You know, it always works out that way. You get an accidentally reverse, and like the reverse would have been a good trade, but that's not the way you're supposed to play. So BMNR is catching a bit of a bid here. I'm seeing IBIT catch a bid. If that holds VWAP, I'm going to take another leg out if I can, right in front of the volume weighted average price. Still want to try to hold for a little bit lower, but I don't want this getting all the way back up to the top here. So I'm going to move my stop. Forget about giving it past here, like 22 and a half. I'm going to really tighten it up and maybe only risk a couple of pennies on this the last little bit to see if we get that bigger follow through. I am seeing USO tick up a little bit.
Oh, SoFi went out.
So if this is ticking up a little bit, I actually like that for reloading some of the shorts if we get USO higher. So far so good on BMNR. IBIT's still not really doing a heck of anything. It's still all red candles on that, so I think that kind of bodes well for the short. I'm still looking over at this Palantir, which doesn't seem to want to come all the way to 145. If this breaks the trend without getting to 145, then I guess I'll try it a little bit higher than I thought we'd go into. But crude oil going higher does bode well for a little bit of weakness if it's sustained.
All right, we did load up Intel again, so we did get reloaded up there again. So we'll go like this, and we'll go reloaded. And here comes right back in. Did we get that bid? Yeah, yes, we did. We just got an 85 fill there as well. So we just reloaded that 20, got 25s, I think, I believe. There were 23s or whatever it was. So nice little reload there. We'll see if we can now get our 75. We're still bidding 75s. Maybe we can get it. We just got 85. So nice move, pulling lower now on INTC. And I was explaining that it, was the biggest position. So, this could definitely make or break the morning here. And Palantir, unfortunately, we do get another out right there, but if it does dip down, we probably do have to wind up waiting. I'm going to get out now at the low of the day. Was waiting for a rebound there in the market. We did get a little bit of it. We take advantage of that move, but a break of the low now on PLTR, we can get out. I do have another offer up here at 147 in case it hits again, but for right now, no. It's downside there. I think it's worth waiting on Intel for those of you looking for a price target. I mean, we were talking about into these levels there. I'm trying to get 75, which has just bounced off me now twice. I went to 77 there the last time. I thought we were going to get it for sure. Would be like this 97.80 area, something like that. So that's about $1 lower from right here. What would be like sort of the bigger target look for me. But definitely back into VWAP, we would clear out of half of what we have. See, look at that, man. We just missed our 75. Good thing we took 85s all the way back up there for Intel. Just waiting for it to come back down, and hopefully that does happen. And Intel going down has not been something that's been common as of late. But right here, NVIDIA get into 198. I mean, somebody had mentioned that on the chat about 198.50. That was a good price. That's where your 200 period moving average is. So here we go, man. Now it's trying to get back up to the upside. We'll see if NVIDIA did find a bottom in and around 197. Cloud marketing name Zeta was talked about earlier.
And news on oil? I didn't know.
I didn't hear anything about oil, but here we go.
Explosion fire reported on South Korean.
Okay, so what is USO looking like?
Yeah, That's not.
That could be okay. I mean, we don't know anything about that. The United States.
Small spike.
Yeah, they've already claimed that they own the Strait of Hormuz. So I don't know, but yeah, there it is. Small little spike in USO.
Not much.
No, nothing at all. That fire could be anything really, but or it could be false reporting. Who knows? But explosion fire reported on South Korean vessel. So someone's firing over there, and hopefully it leads to. I don't know.
Hopefully, it leads to nothing.
I don't really know what to say at that point because I don't know where we're going. I know where I'm going with it, but yeah, me too. I think that's a good point.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean,
BBAI up 3.
Anytime there's a headline like that, look over at USO. Is it reacting? If it's not, then I try to act like it's not that big of a deal because the market's not taking it too seriously. So it was probably the right decision to get another leg out at VWAP on BMNR and then tighten the stop up. So that ends up working out because you're now starting to see some strength. And well, if the first trade was short, then sometimes that might mean missing out on a potential reversal long on IBIT. So far it's been so good. It just hasn't been the trades that I was expecting to work out. Like eBay was the only one on the list that was exactly as expected. BMNR's worked, and Intel worked for a bit. And now I'm going to go back to thinking about that long here in IBIT. If we can hold over VWAP, then that's holding prior highs, and we can start going in the direction that we wanted things to start going. So, and especially with USO now making its way back into the downside. I like what that means for the overall market here. So, and take a stab once we close above the volume weighted average price. USO right back into low of the day. So that spike, they don't care. When I say they, it doesn't seem like the oil futures cared about that explosion much. Or we wouldn't be right back at lows at USO.
All right. Oh, yeah. Okay, I was going to say, there goes Palantir, nicely cooking now to the upside. We got some Palantir back up to the upside right now. Let's take advantage of this move on Palantir and get a 10, so we'll do that right there. We did get stopped out there of 75%, so we'll be roughly flat on it. We'd like to see a little bit of a bigger move up to get into the flat area there, so we'd like to get it to like 148, back into VWAP if that's at all possible. I don't know. But why we're more excited is because of this trade. We finally get our 75s right there. I did take a 90 because I was like, but right there, 75. As you can see, the 25 period graduated up into the 70s now. So now we need to put, okay, here we go. Now, I was going to say, now we're finally starting to get going here on Palantir, but sorry, on Intel. We'll see if that wants to go. Yeah, SoFi, you know, there's our stop of 75% again. It sucks because, like, if we just got it all out early, and I didn't know, I thought we were going to go back to the highs. We could have reloaded it back down here, but without being able to trust it too much, we're just going to hold on to 25%. I do have an offer, I believe, at 49, which I do have. So right there, 200 period, we're looking for that one. But the big trade for me is just going to be what we talked about already. Stock visualizer, I actually don't even have that up, so I got to get that up at some point to see what you guys want to talk about. And here it is right here. It's Micron, it's NVIDIA, it's Tesla. Oh, Tesla 391. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, there's NVIDIA up 0.08%. Oh yeah, GameStop, Intel, Apple. Robinhood is, we don't have a quote on that one, but it looks like it's showing flat, but that can't be true. Intel, good trade. SNDK. There's that Xanadu. People are asking us about that one, of course.
It's up 4%, even though it pulled back.
Hood is, right? Yeah, okay, so maybe SoFi can get going there. But a name that we had always get questions about, and Joe trades TSLL. Look out for Joe and Sharif coming in about 45 minutes or so. But it's Tesla right now, pretty choppy off the open, right? I mean, a nice move down in and back up. And, you know, how would you know to short 395? I don't know, but that's come back in there into 390 and now dancing around VWAP. So just, shoot. Here goes Intel right now. Let's see if we can get it. We're still bidding 52s. We'd love to get a 52 in our account here, so let's cheer that on, as that's our next little level that we're looking at. We said we're trying to get VWAP. VWAP's at 41. We'll just sit just in front of this and see if we can grab it. But it's Intel right now for the Wintel. I'm going to put another bid. There we go. We get another bid at 70 just to make sure that we do get something out. Let's go to the downside right now for Intel. It's too bad we didn't get a little bit more short up there, but we reloaded it. So here we go for Intel. Just pretty flat today for me, P&L wise, man. I mean, we started off pretty hot.
Wintel for Intel wasn't that bad.
Yeah, the Wintel for Intel. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, not bad. We're trying our best over here, but that's what we're doing. You're an I. Okay, so you went long on IBIT. Yeah, that's what we were looking for.
But I was looking for IBIT down here, but that's not where the turn was, and I probably missed the entry at 44, like 55, let's call it, because we were getting out of a short in BMNR, but it ended up being the right call. BMNR is now breaking through the high of the day, and IBIT's trying to get to the high of the day. But it's been a very scalpish kind of day. Like, there's just no outsized moves. Pre-market low, pre-market highs. So I think scalp the trade until it shows you you're doing something distinctly different. And I'm not really seeing that. Apple was another name that I'm looking towards. Yeah, it still hasn't gotten down toward that fill in the gap bottom yet on Apple. It's that close. And that bottom tail candle on the 15 is not bad, but if it's a 15-minute entry, then this needs to hold 276 on the 15-minute bar. So far it has actually been pretty good. Like, the only losing trade was Roblox for me. BMNR, eBay looking good. IBIT still holding out. That we've got a nice little bottoming tail and then hopeful trend up. So we'll get out pre-market high, we'll buy some more dips, and then we'll get a super chat from Trader Griff.
What is Intel doing? Okay.
Can you gents give me a sanity check on IonQ breaking 48.5? What levels would you consider?
It's insane.
Sanity check. What's the news with IonQ, and why is this one going?
Probably, well, you were talking about quantum names in Canada there.
Yeah, but that was I don't know, bad for one quantum name, good for others?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Oh, Canada, back.
That looks pretty solid here for a potential squeeze if it gets through 49. But big time resistance, obviously, if we're being real, at 49 and a half.
Intel is like cratering a bit right now. So yeah, man, we will just go face slap right here as we get into finally the Dollar Club. Oh, big time Dollar Club now. All right, man, we have just turned our frown upside down. We're green on the day now as there goes Intel, man. Huge win. Huge win. Now that you say that, now I just keep on wanting to say that Wintel stuff. But you know what, man? We're going in oppo right now, so we're hitting those sort of those 2-2 pitches when you get the 2 strikes on you. That's what I was trying to tell the kids this week, man. You got to shorten that swing, my guy, when you get 2 strikes on you. But there goes Palantir. Let's go, man. Fire off. Watch here. You're going to hot dog games. Watch out for those glizzies. Dollar hot dog days at the Rogers Center. Very popular. They did over 100,000 hot dogs not too long ago. But there it is right now, down through $1.24 now in the money, and we said the ultimate area would be right here. So man, it just fell right into our lap there on Intel, but we didn't get enough out. So let's bid a little bit more out there as we get some O's. We'll see if we can get something in the 80s right there. But hey, if you're rocking with me today, there it goes, man. We said our heaviest trade was Intel. It was, so there you go. So we said it was going to be a day maker or breaker. And right now it's about flat for us. This is a good move there. We did give some up on Palantir. Well, we're well up on Intel, but we lost a little bit there on Palantir. And look what Palantir just did, by the way. We have the low of the day on Palantir, but we have it the wrong way. We have the out there at the low of the day, but that's why we got stopped out at 75%. We did hold 25%. We said if we got back up to here, we'd be doing pretty good. So that's exactly what's happening. And then the dollar is still there for Intel, but a good cover as it just fell right into our lap, man. We called this area. I'm still waiting for more. I mean, we have 99.90s. 97.90s to get out again, and then a much bigger order right there. I've got on still about 35% or so of this trade, so good on holding here, and hopefully you guys are able to do that because it's been so far so good on that short. I mean, what if the market even gives it up? I think we could get a much bigger move here on Intel downside as it really bounces off of that $100 mark again here today. So yeah, just trying to stick with what's been working and adjusting our strategies a little bit from last week, making sure we don't stop out of 100% and holding a little bit of something on, which did work for SoFi, which is now 7 cents in. And look where SoFi is, right back there up to the upside. So realistically, all the calls have been good. It's just our stops triggered and we're able to get out of a little bit of them. So yeah, man, small cap recap, I guess. Okay, let's go over to Adara and then we'll come right back and talk more markets.
Let's indeed talk about these small caps here. This is CNS Pharmaceuticals. CNSP, is the ticker here. They announced a $22.5 million private placement of 650,000 shares at $2.30 per share and warrants currently trading at $9. So good look here for CNSP. Next up, we have to talk about BYND. They are above the dollar level, and they're actually also going to be reporting earnings on Wednesday after the bell, according to their official company press release. Now, we know that BYND can't be late on earnings, so don't hold out hope they will report on Wednesday, but either way, May 6th, tentatively the day that this company is reporting. We know a couple days ago, this one had a massive push to the upside on reports that the Army was considering plant-based or alternative meat options for food rations. Last but not least, BlackBerry, BB, roughly 9% short float on this name. They are on watch for no news-related reason, but we know we have some interest in the likes of, as mentioned, BYND, Nokia, and now GameStop as of late, so it could be a meme stock sympathy play. BB also, of course, has that tie-up between its QNX business and NVIDIA, announced, or the extension of which was announced here on 4/20, April 20th, so relatively recent. Back to you.
Thanks, Dara. I don't know that reporting is, when you have a squeeze name like Beyond Me, I'm not sure you want the report. Like let it be like a month from now.
Yeah, you'd rather not see those earnings.
Right, like it's the numbers come out and that can throw probably cold water on any kind of a squeeze play, which changes I didn't realize that they reported this week.
Allegedly, according to them.
Okay, well,
why wouldn't they?
The day they report, I feel like if it's still making some presses higher, that could give you a reason to get out. We just had I don't want to say tank, that's the wrong word. We just had a push back down in to some lows here on USO. So as you're wicking the bottom here on USO, there's a potential breakout happening on IBIT through like the pre-market double top. We're right at 79.2. So we still have room to get to 80K today, but if we fail the high, it's an out, wait for VWAP. Otherwise, try to carry it into the 45 even dollar level on IBIT. Apparently, Bovin's saying DXYZ is a ripper today. Why would Destiny Tech be?
Well, I mean, we get closer
Half
to
of
these IPOs.
But half of Destiny is just SpaceX, right? Like there's a bunch of other stuff in there, like OpenAI I think is like 9 or 10%, and then half of it's going to be SpaceX. But Destiny ripping, okay. Fair enough. Maybe it is doing one of those pop and drops that they like to do. I'm very skeptical of this. Every single time it comes up, if you do any actual math on their holdings, the stock trades like twice. It trades twice as high as the latest funding rounds for all of their private holdings. If you just do the simple math, you pay a huge premium on them. But I guess you get exposure to things that you couldn't hold otherwise. So to each their own. And then what's their advantage once SpaceX is public, right?
Well, it's the same thing as buying, I mean, it's kind of the same thing like once you buy MSTR or you buy Bitcoin or you buy, like that's going to have a huge short float, DXYZ, so there could be other options, other reasons for it to go.
It's more of a, it's someone said there's a huge short float. And that's the reason, like because it trades at such a big premium, there is a heavy short constantly in it, so it can squeeze higher. But like fundamentally, that's a tough one to get behind because you can literally do the math to see what they own and find out that there has to be a ridiculous amount of growth to hold.
I mean, there could always, there could always be like another raise somewhere or something, which revalues SpaceX or Anthropic, and the next thing you know, like their $400 billion position is now $600 billion, and I don't know. But anyways, SoFi here, they have a lot to worry about. They did not perform very well off of their most recent quarter, but we do hold, does come back into 57, so we do take another out right there. Intel, man, did we ever for some reason nail that level? Like, down into there. So we said that we had about a third left. We now have about a quarter left. So we definitely did not empty it out like we should have right there. We were, to be honest with you, we were waiting for 60s. I thought that could have been a good level, but as it fell back in, we got a bunch out there at 98, which was great. Some there at VWAP, and it's been good. I'll try it again. And this time, if it breaks 99.50, we're always going to be out at that level. So we wound up taking about $1.30 on the maximum, and our stop was 25 cents. So, we got to be able to ring the register. And again, we talk about this all the time. Trading is hard enough. You should give yourself a little pat on the back anytime you can get a victory or a win on a call, and make sure that you do take that profit, because in just a matter of time, snap, crackle, pop, the stocks can go either way, right back at you. There's a first time for everything, and today's first time is now with Sia over at the big screen.
Thank you so much. We do know that NCLH reported pre-market today, so let's take a look at the stock. Now, the revenue target did miss a little bit. Wall Street was expecting $2.36 billion versus the company actually reporting $2.33 billion. It did also have a beat on the EPS and overall beat, but it did. And it is mirroring the records that the company had back in the year 2024. Now, this growth that is driven in the company, the revenue that has been boosted, is also all thanks to ticket pricing and increase in onboard spending. Also, let's take a look at the geopolitical pressures that are causing this current miss in revenue. We do know that the significant fuel costs are caused by the conflict in the Middle East, which is why there's also a lowered full-year guidance, which is the reason that shares have been trading low pre-market and currently. Now, also, CEO of the company, John Chidsey, has said that they're going to lower the company's annual run rate around $125 million. There's also a stock trajectory that we're going to take a look at. It started with its initial IPO at $25, moved on to all-time highs in the November of 2015, where the stock was trading around $64.22. Then we have in late 2019's little bit of a crash to $58, and it literally plummeted to March to $7.77 during pandemic, where ships had the no sail order, like I also spoke for Royal Caribbean last week, where the travel industry took a big hit. And cut to today, in May 2026, the stock is trading at around $18 a share. If you calculate from its all-time highs to today, the stock is down almost 71.9%. And that's all for you today. Sending it back.
Yeah, before we go back to the guys here, I have to mention USO. We do have some news here. Report I am seeing from Tasnim News, which is an Iranian state news agency, of course. They're reporting that Hanzala Group has disclosed the information of 400 U.S. Navy officers. Now, I looked into Hanzala Group. They're also known as Handala. They are a Iran-associated hacking group. So basically, it looks like an Iranian hacking group has disclosed or revealed the information of 400 U.S. Navy officers, again, being reported by Iranian state media. So just wanted to keep you guys posted. Nothing massive here in terms of oil reactions, but a little bit of a bounce here as traders digest this most recent information. Back to you.
Well, that bounce kind of got me out of IBIT. Joe held on. I just turned over and looked at Joe. He's happy about it because it did continue to go. But that little bottoming tail reversal, I was looking for 45s as the target on IBIT, and right when it was doing that topping tail, I'm like, okay, let's just get out right in front of that 45 zone. But if we do get a dip, I'm going to buy the dip and then sort of move on to the next. Like, we waited for IBIT to turn into a long. It eventually broke the downward trend, and
Don't tell me 44.
ish. It broke it.
Ish. Oh my God. Ish. That's a good one. Yeah, this is exactly what we wrote down. But again, like, I don't know, man. I just got to be a little more focused on these levels. There's 4450 area. We even said area long right there. So there's IBIT. Great call by Neil there to grab that. But there it is, 4450 area long. Was like a no-brainer. Well, we even talked about that off the open. I think all of us were looking at it. So it's a good job for you to make that trade. But wow, man, did we hit that one. That was only at 10 o'clock. Like, that's not even at 9:30. So definite opportunity missed over there for me. But I'm glad that you got some of that. But yeah, nailed it on that one. But we didn't nail it on Google. Let me see if we nailed it on AMD. We wrote down 355 long. There you go, right? I mean, and this is why. And again, I know why I'm not in IBIT. Well, IBIT's a different one because I liked when you took it. Like, you don't have to take things right away. And this is what I was going to say about this 355 long is I'm no longer willing, as here goes Intel again. What's up, Ozan? No longer willing to take something at like 935, especially in a name that's, you know, like a hyperscaler or a name that's been, you know, in the movements, in the news, that has these kind of plays underneath of it. So we do know that AMD, and we heard from JKL, like, you know, wake me up at 180, right? But I mean, this name has a big move to the downside here today. Definitely not worth sitting in front of 355 or any kind of a level when that happens. What you're waiting for is it to develop a bottom, right? And so as I look back over here at the exact bottom of IBIT, and give or take, like we said, ish area right there. The lowest 47s, we called 50s. This is why it was a good trade and why we should have hammered it, is because it gave us that low right there. And then when it came in, you see how when it comes in, I could obviously not stand getting into it, but it's actually that break long, which I know was what Neil took. That's the kind of the thing. Once it develops the base and then you get going, now you actually have momentum underneath you. So that's why that IBIT trade, definitely a good one. We just fell back into 98.30 there, seeing if we can buy some dips a little bit more, not buy some dips, cover if we do come back into 98. So we did get a good cover there at 35. We'll see if we can get another one at 05. I mean, you can't get it until you put a bid. So we'll just start to cover out just a little bit more here. Put another bid at 05. I'm already at 12. So let's cancel that 05. We're at 12. We'll see if we get a lower bid here coming through. New story. Okay, so no commercial vessels or oil tankers have transited the Strait of Hormuz in recent hours, but yet there was some sort of a Korean.
One's on fire.
But one's on fire. So if it hasn't transited, I mean, I guess it's saying going through the Strait of Hormuz. So there still remains, I don't know, Adair, if there's ever been a number of how many millions of barrels is stuck.
No, there's no number. And honestly, if there was number, it will probably be contradicted by different news agencies.
Yeah,
so I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't even heard anything to begin with.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be that accurate. Anyways, as you mentioned, okay, here we go, man. Big Bear AI with earnings just around the corner, kicking out again, man, up another 5%. And, you know, this is a name that we kept on getting questions about. Obviously, it's a pick that I've been talking about for a minute. And there it goes now, Big Bear AI to join Marvell and to join Eli Lilly. We'll see if they can continue to go higher. You're looking for that 450 break. And into earnings, I've already showed you guys, man, the EPS tick is happening, man. We just need to get that over that hump. And I think BBAI becomes that bear to a bull real quickly right there. They may have to, based on their report, they may have to change it to big bull AI very, very shortly, but I don't think that will happen because that could be a lot of BS in that report. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening with Big Bear AI. Short float of about 28%. Slow news day, you're right there. Shout out to Rainmaker. It doesn't seem like there's much going on, and I think the NASDAQ would pretty much agree with us there, unless you picked up that IBIT, which
That's why it's a lot of scalping.
near those lows, and yeah, a lot of scalping,
This
right?
is easily the most, the smallest. It's
Palantir.
10:30. Uh-oh. Oh, that's right. You know what? I'm just going to do this right now because I still have these on and you don't need them. Don't need to see the weekend. No, but you have done nothing on the NASDAQ. Like, we've made some little bit of a high, little bit of holding higher lows, but you're not doing any, you haven't even touched the overnight ranges. The next trade in IBIT, like, we're gonna just have to get really patient. Like, wait for something similar. Like, maybe it'll do another pullback and we get VWAP again. Or maybe we'll get some kind of a crazy move up in BMNR a second. Oh, it's already happening. Okay, well, this could be the case. I'm gonna look for a level here in BMNR, and if I can find like a topping tail candle, maybe 23 or 23.30 or 40, and then I look for a reversion here on BMNR, that's starting to go a little bit ham. Apple was a potential trade because it was moving. Didn't really fill all the way down to 274. Might have already missed that one for sure. And then just looking at what's going on with GameStop and eBay. GameStop now down 5%. It's been gliding lower and holding lower. I think that does bode well for the continuation on eBay. It was just never enough hype to pop it all the way into VWAP. But as long as it holds, it's holding the low. So if it can come back in here, maybe break 110, as long as GameStop's not doing anything crazy, then I can short this one off the volume-weighted average price. Like, the only thing that didn't work this morning was Roblox. And thank goodness we got away from that. Like, Roblox...
Let's keep going, eh?
Oh, really? Like, up 4% on Roblox. It's still not good enough to call the bottom in on Roblox. Underneath $50. It's not bad. You like to see it hold some lows after earnings, but I don't know that this is good enough to call it who the bottom is in. You still have to try to fill this gap in and break above 50 for anything decisive in the long term. So it's either going to be IBIT coming back into the volume-weighted average price, if we can even get it, or eBay for another reload on those shorts. We have a poll here.
Do you know what ghost fleets are?
Why don't we do the poll in the... Okay, it doesn't really matter. Ghost fleets?
I said no.
I'm going to go with no, because I don't know. I don't know what are ghost fleets. You guys, 36% of the viewers seem to know what ghost fleets are.
1/3.
So then, yeah, so a third of you can then put in the chat and let me know.
Yeah, exactly. No, I said no already.
Joe, you know what a ghost fleet is? Joe's shaking his head no. So 100% of us have no idea what you're talking about there.
Okay, so here we go. Just quickly there, Palantir goes $1, so that was a good one off those lows. And we take advantage of that as it bounces off the 200 period moving average. But here we go, man. Ghost fleet or not, NVIDIA's ghosting me on those bids as it just goes right back up to the upside again, near your 200 period moving average. We'll take a shot now because it's back up there. I still am waiting for something a little higher than where we were, basically where we were last time. 99.35 or so is where I'm sitting at. Maybe we can go to 99.30 and just sit there and see if we do get anything. So 99.30s or so. We'll see about a quick little reload here of Intel. All right. So again, another one. You know, we're going to be positive, obviously, on this stock, despite getting dropped out there. But we only got dropped out of 75% of what we had left. Remember, we got in and out of a bunch there. Nice move higher. We'll see if SoFi wants to go. We'll put another offer at 64. Then we'll put an offer at 70s, and we'll see if we can get all of that. Still waiting for that reload on Intel. USO, I assume Ghost Fleet has something to do with oil. And here we go. So that's not really doing too much right now. We can check in on the US dollar in a moment here. Here's a... Get down, man. I always have so many problems with this damn monitor. Right into there. Okay, let's go over to a 1 minute chart because I guess I'm kind of long and short here. I got the schlong on here. We're on Palantir, 70 cents in the money long. Intel flat now as it's trying to get back upside, and the dollar not doing a whole bunch here on the 1 minute chart. So can't really look to this for any sort of a guide. We did have a move higher there in the dollar. We saw the NASDAQ spike lower, got underneath VWAP, probably created by this moment. I mean, you can look back at 1010. Bet you that was probably the NASDAQ low. And then a move back in just recently now on the US dollar. So definitely if you're trading the futures or anything like that, that would be something you want to look at. Oh man, did we get, no, we did see, we missed that reload up there on the high side of Intel. Just barely, man. We were at 99.30, 99.28, got to 99.20s there. So we'll just put on something here at 8s if we can get it. There, I think we just got it there. So a little bit more just to add on in case we don't get back up to that high side. And I still like the short into that level. If it breaks it, it breaks it. We are, well positioned and well able to handle that kind of a hit. But oh yeah, TeraWulf. That was moving. I just saw someone put Wolf in there. That's different than TeraWulf, but Wolf was a mover. This TeraWulf.
Again?
Nah, not really 1%, but it did. I was only looking at it because it was breaking out, and it looks like it's stair-stepping again here, trying to get higher. Okay, Intel, here we go, man. Oops. So what are you going to do now? You can also do this.
What?
I hit the wrong button. I was just going to give the props up right there, but make sure you do hit the like and subscribe because there's Intel, man. And I just said, let me put on a little bit more. I mean, fortune favors the bold at some points, and we just missed it. But there's Intel. We just reloaded it. So it's going to be a good stock. Thanks for that, Andre, over there. As we continue to go, or that was Joe over there. Oh, you got the money over there. Okay. So nice little reload there upside. Yo, Joe, what's going on, my guy? We now do have 22 minutes until that show, and then we have what's for lunch coming up. Decent lunches last week. We'll see if we can continue the trend here this week. But Intel moving into 98 and change, just bouncing off of the 50 period again. Still want to go lower. Don't worry, when it goes lower, you'll hear from me right now. But 18 cents in the money on SoFi, $1 on Palantir, and 40 cents on Intel. We're looking for lower though.
Yeah, and you're not getting lower from Bitcoin. That just continues to go higher with the market going up.
What a
I did
level.
find something. We threw out in the chat, that I didn't want to interrupt, threw in the chat that there was a trend break happening on SMCI. So that was the next thing available. So it took the trend break, looking for the volume-weighted average price there. But it is still arrows up and everything up on IBIT. Bitcoin just got to 79.5. Remember, 80,000 was rejected over the weekend. So you get to that level, start thinking about the curl, and the curl being the short, and I'll be over on BM&R. I just think there'll be more juice if that ends up falling to the downside. Let's go to the desk, Adara.
Yeah, worth noting here, notorious GameStop bull Michael Burry just opined that GameStop's bid for eBay, quote, makes perfect sense. So it sounds like he's okay with this. Let's take a look here now at this sector board, though, because we have actually a very mixed look here. A lot of sectors have some red and some green. Let's start with some decidedly directional sectors, though. Most obvious one being transportation, with UPS down 8.5% and FedEx down 7% after Amazon announced a new logistics heavy pivot with freight and distribution, putting itself in direct competition, or heavier competition rather, with both of these names. Commercial services, rather, on the other hand, that was pretty strong. Energy minerals, of course, we continue to digest headlines in the oil space. They're doing quite well today. And producer manufacturing, with the exception of Caterpillar and day 3 earnings, is also a great look. GEV is up nearly 3%. Finance generally strong here, though some of these legacy banks like JP Morgan and Bank of America, as well as Citigroup, are trading a little bit lower. Health tech has some weakness in the likes of AMZN and Johnson & Johnson. And we have to talk about these tech names because these are, as they have been a lot lately, kind of all over the place. In electronic tech, you have total discrepancies here. You've got SanDisk and Micron in the memory space up nearly 5% and over 7% respectively. Then you've got Qualcomm and AMD both down roughly 4%. AMD, of course, did catch a downgrade this morning from, I believe, HBSC. Broadcom and Apple to the downside as well. But if you go to tech services, all these SaaS names are having nice, healthy moves to the upside, while Google is down about 1%. Back to you.
Google's down 1%. Okay, good to
Well,
look at.
Amazon stands out.
As the highs, right?
Yeah, baby, Amazon.
Well, the Nasdaq's out of highs.
But look at this chart. That's like program buying here right now on Amazon. This one's going absolutely ham. We have something for this. When it's all green for a long time, and right now, yes, I can say it. Amazon is making an all-time high.
Yeah, oh yeah.
With a storm of What is it? I want that one. I like that.
We've already made 2 orders today on Amazon at my house already today. So
I got some. What did I get today? I don't even remember. Shoot, there's something that arrived at the house. I don't even remember what it was.
I just see notifications like that. Another $80, another $70. Okay.
Now it's gonna bother me.
Another day that ends in Y.
Doesn't really. Not that it even matters. You know what? It doesn't matter. I don't even know why I'm looking at it, but it's so true.
No, I mean I've already saw. I mean I get the notifications, so we already had.
But
and
it's bad.
That's just purchases, not even delivery.
I just think it's bad that I don't remember what we ordered.
I never know.
That we got.
I don't know.
It doesn't
Yes,
make
it does.
it ultimately doesn't make a difference. SMCI, look, the market's breaking out, so a trend break is a trend break, and that's fine when we get a trend break. But the market's breaking out the high, so if it only pulls back this far, I just took another leg out in this consolidation in 28.15. Again, it's a $20 stock that gets 20 pennies in there, and even the VWAP is only going to be about 30 to 35 cents. So it just makes some sense with the strength that we're seeing in the market. Going to move the stop to break even. Again, don't want to turn a good trade into bad. Like you can have an entry set up, but the market doesn't care right now that you had a technical trend break on the stock. If it wants to go higher, it can certainly go higher all at once. So again, this can't turn into a loser, but I did want to take another leg out as, my goodness, IBIT still pushing higher. Close to 80,000, but not yet. If Bitcoin gets to 80,000, I think that's the logical place for turn. There hasn't been a significant dip buy since that open. And I'm sad to say, Kim Nguyen just says NVIDIA not moving. I'm sad to say that this hasn't been abnormal in the market. We're at the highs. A bunch of other things look strong, and NVIDIA is lagging. And you wonder, why is this happening? NVIDIA is just not in favor. I don't know what to tell you. But there's sellers galore here. We were just chilling out at 215 on NVIDIA like a week and a half ago, and now you're threatening to break the lows when the market's threatening to bust all-time highs. It's just a stock that's not in the good books for whatever reason, and it doesn't have to make sense, but it's been this way for a while now. You know this if you've been watching the show. Like, I'm mad at myself. Although AMD is pulling back, I mean, look at AMD. We've seen NVIDIA's chart do almost nothing. And AMD went like 80% from its recent, maybe more than that. Slightly more than like an 80% gain from its recent lows. And NVIDIA did what, 15, 20?
Yeah, NVIDIA can never go 80%. NVIDIA can't go that way.
It's too big.
Yeah, as I said before, it's too heavy. It's not going to work
You
out
get
that
too
way.
big, and it's hard to make that kind of a move.
Yeah, the trade for me, of course, that was missed. And again, we wrote that down, was that IBIT area long. I mean, as Neil mentioned, man, it just keeps on going upside. That's at 44.50. That's literally the low of the day, and we should have been able to make that 44.47 or so, the low. Here goes Intel, man. It looks like it's trying to go higher. I mean, the NASDAQ is now rocking, so, we are now prepared with our stop on here. We tried to get it out lower. We did. We got one little low take there. We've just been reloading pretty small, but now we're back into a decent position, and we know where our stop is, and we've already got that all labeled out there. So if it does wind up stopping out in and around that 99.50 mark, I believe that's where... Got to make sure the stop is, actually, I canceled it, 99.51. I think that's, yeah, because we didn't want 40s. We're just going to break through there, not going to go any fancy there. We are this time going to get out of 100% of that trade if it does come through. A little bit of a size chasing this one down, but it's not SSR or anything like that, so we're not going to be too worried about anything. We did have an order there at 18. We'll take out a little bit there as it comes back in. We have another bid at, well, I got to change the quantities now. I have another bid at 12s. Hopefully that comes through. But for right now, Intel, yeah, pushing higher, and looks like it's a long. It looks like it's turned completely into a long after bouncing off of that support area. So we're still in the short. We do have our target areas, and there it comes right back in again. So we'll get out just a little bit more here. We'll bid some 9s. We've just got some 12s. So a nice little take on the downside, but again, pretty dangerous times right now on this Intel short as we keep pushing a little bit higher. IREN, is it iRunning?
Yes.
Up 12% today. We can always ask Adair if there's anything, but IREN right now. Okay, so Adair is confirming that there is something. She's going to look it up and bring us the exact story so that we can properly report that.
So after the bell on Friday, they announced the, quote, energization of Sweetwater 1, that is their 1.4 gigawatt data center site in Texas. So that's the deal here with IREN. I remember reading this in passing, so I knew there was a story. The story is, again, successful energization of their Sweetwater 1 data center site in Texas with 1.4 gigawatts. Back to you.
Yeah, and a pretty clean breakout, it looks like on the 15 here for IREN.
Energization.
I like the word.
Yeah.
The question is it bull flagging?
That's a good
Well,
one.
it's trying to, but I think for a bull flag, you have to make some kind like it's made a top, it's just make the bottom and hold it. And 49.25 looks like a reasonable level. As long as it doesn't lose that, that looks pretty reasonable to me. It's, again, trying to bull flag. Maybe VWAP that gives you that 49.25 as well. So, again, just you don't will something into existence. It either happens or happens. Like I was just talking about wanting VWAP on SMCI. Took another leg out because the market was strong, moved the stop to break even, didn't want to turn that into
yeah.
And then wait for the next opportunity out there. And hopefully we'll find it in IBIT. I don't know if that's going to be the case. It just pushed. We're now 79, where are we now? 79.7. So we're getting very, very close to that $80,000 level. Once you get to 80,000, that's going to be the reversion for sure. So waiting for that, a 100%, and just going to take another, just going to continue to snipe at it. Right? Like we're able to get BMNR ones, we're able to just get in and out of another quick scalp short on SMCI, but I'm thinking it's going to be BMNR. It's only now breaking the highs when you've already got Bitcoin going. Now 80,000 just broke on Bitcoin.
Let's go.
80,000 change, continuing to go. If we flash back under, I'm taking the short on the way back through in BMNR. But what an unbelievable, you know what? We have a coin. We have exactly the perfect one for this.
You know, that's been great.
Those are Bitcoins.
Yeah, we're making money. I mean, we bought some 66,000. We can't complain about that. We've been talking about it ever since we bought it, but we'll have the face slapper right here with Intel. So Intel, how many times are we going to keep reloading this one right at those levels? Look, this last reload was 20 cents. Right there, worth of risk. It's now 50 cents in the money. And by the way, man, Alex Karp is coming to save us all one more time because there it is now $1.30 in the money. Right back to the upside goes Palantir as we're rocking and rolling right back up to VWAP right there. Look, we have the low of the day. We got stopped out there, only of 75% of what we had left, but we wind up holding the last little bit. And there she goes again. It's a nice little upside play there. And by the way, here we go again for INTC as it's dropping through, and we like that one right now into these levels. We said the key level right around here. So if we get 98.30s again, let's just try VWAP, 98.50. Big move down, big move down. And this is why I talked about it. This is the heaviest stock that I've had today, the biggest positions, and we've reloaded it like 4 times. So it's definitely been a good one there for Intel. We did believe in this short, and there it comes back up to the upside. So we didn't believe in it. We wouldn't have reloaded it, and I just thought we had a very, very good level. As I said, the missed opportunity is that 44.50 on IBIT that will forever haunt me today, and then I'll be over it. I'll probably be over it in about 10 minutes. We do have something that's very important to go over. It's what's for lunch, so let's go find this out. We did have some very exciting lunch opportunities last week. I thought it was pretty good overall. Today we had bacon and eggs for breakfast, so you can't beat that.
Eggs.
Hard-boiled eggs, yes, of course. But what's for lunch today? All right, I've just looked at the flag. It's a flag of the lovely country of Mexico. So at least there's something there. But here we go. Oh, it's chili. Okay, so simmered beef chili.
That'll play.
So that's been fine before. Oh, with some corn tacos, hard shell corn taco shells. So maybe this is Taco Tuesday here. Condiments. So yeah, I believe this is tacos. They just sort of have it mixed as simmered beef chili with, and then it says the starch are the shells. So I believe today is a
You know the only
taco day.
issue,
So it's
tacos
not,
were delicious
problem is it's
last
not
time.
Tuesday, right? We're at Taco Tuesday. Over here.
they were like so small. They weren't.
Oh, the little shells?
Yeah.
Yeah, but these are corn. Were they hard shells last time, the small ones? I can't remember.
No, they were soft.
Anyways, just take a couple more shells then. But here we go, man. So far, so good there. Chili tacos. That's what's for lunch. Use the shells or not. And then, of course, garden salad always seems. It's different words for the salad, man. Sometimes it's mixed green salad. Sometimes it's garden salad. Sometimes it's chopped salad. At the end of the day, it's lettuce with vegetables. And
it's consistent.
It's good. Yeah, the salad has always been really fresh and really good. So that's what's for lunch. And right now we have What's Up with Money and Money Talk segment at the desk, I think with Adara.
Or USD.
Indeed, it is with me. Let's take a look here at this US dollar, which is, as of I guess Friday here, finding support sort of, I don't want to say a total double bottom here, but finding support where we found support back on Friday, April 17th. That 97.6 level. Friday's low was 97.72. So again, slightly higher low, more or less, continuing to find support within that level today, trying to form our second straight green candle on that US dollar on the daily chart. Currently trading here around 98.3. High was around 98.5. So if we zoom out here on the weekly chart for the US dollar, we've been kind of chopping around here as of late. Last week, big red gapping up on the day on Monday and, of course, for the week, and then closing a little bit lower as of right now, just barely green to kick off the week for the DXY. Let's talk about some economic data down the pipeline, because as Sean mentioned, it's going to be a big day for economic data on Friday. At 8:30 a.m., you get the U.S. unemployment rate coming through, along with non-farm payrolls, average earnings, and average work week hours. Then we also are going to be getting through at 10 a.m., University of Michigan consumer sentiment, the preliminary print for May. Now, we know the preliminary print for April was actually the lowest reading for the UMich consumer sentiment in its history, though the final print for April did show some improvement. So University of Michigan consumer sentiment, especially given that it also has that 1 year and 5 year inflation component, that continues to be something to watch out for. And it's one of the numbers that certainly I think can and often does move the market. Let's take a look here at the CME Fed Watch tool. 95.5% chance that we're going to be getting rates held steady once again in June of 2026. This meeting more than a month and a half away. If you look here at the wider range of things here, we're still not seeing a cut until potentially December of 2027. Other than that, rates very likely to be held steady. And there's even some chances that we might get raises, for example, in December of 2026 or January 2027. Back to you.
So now at 80.5. MSTR is up 4.5%. We already talked about Circle that's going crazy, and as long as we continue to go higher. Wow! BMNR is only now breaking the high. What's ETH doing? ETH is going pretty parabolic, is somewhat parabolic as well. But as long as this is look how parabolic this move is. It's just insanely parabolic to the upside, and it's definitely true that BMNR isn't moving as much, so that's going to be the one. When you revert, I'm going to go revert the thing that is not ripping the faces off as much as the rest. That's worked so far today, just kind of picking the spot, get in, get out, move on to the next. But a huge rally now holding 80.5K on Bitcoin. So good luck if you're shorting anything crypto. You really, really have to be nimble with your entries and exits on that one. If you're shorting, that is.
Yeah, like we already talked about, good long for you. We nailed the price. We didn't put it in for ourselves, but good trade on IBIT. And then Palantir, for some reason, I wish we didn't. See, like this again, focusing on the wrong stock. We put our stop in there. That's when we should have bought crypto, and that's when we should have even bought Palantir. We were waiting for 145 on Palantir. That never came in, so we did stop out of a little bit there. We were looking for lower to reload it, but there goes there goes Palantir right now up $1.50 in that position as it goes higher. Intel's starting to make moves to the high side now as the futures want to get going there. It looks like we are going to break through on Intel. We've done really good on this stock. We just reloaded it right here at 38s again. But this looks like now, though, here it goes. Breaking through 50, we're stopped out, and that's completely fine. If that winds up happening, we're in it. We're in it at 30. We can lose 20 cents on this one. There it goes. So nice move. Bye-bye. Good call on the long there, bouncing off the 50-period moving average. So Intel was good until it wasn't. And now the market just wants to keep going higher. SoFi, bang up call on that one. I mean, 1645. There's our stop for a little bit of shares there as it comes right back up. I was actually waiting at, I don't have any more offers. That was our out at 70. I guess we could now wait at 75 for the high of the day. I don't necessarily want to reverse the Intel or anything right now, but that's a good break, and maybe it does continue to mature up into that 101 area. Actually, I don't actually mind this trade, but then, you know, it's just,
Almost at 100
yeah, it's just at that break level. Like, I almost would rather go short again and let it break 100 and just use less shares. But it's a good move. Look, we got stopped out there at 50. I'd hate for that to have been the wick. I'll try. I was gonna say, let me try it one more time on Intel. So someone there believed in that level, and they're sending it just a little bit lower now for Intel. So, oh man, that's too bad. So again, we had the bottom of the day there on Palantir, and we might have just had the high of the day there again on Intel. So I think we're on the right stocks, but we're just, maybe we should do that 75% thing a little bit more often, because then we would still have 25% left of this move there on Intel. But yeah, a nice little bit of a move back in. Hopefully you didn't stop out where I did. Right now, Intel trying to battle its way back down. So yeah, just one name was Tesla. We actually didn't look at Rivian. Oh, come on, Intel. We didn't look at...
Look at the 15 on Rivian.
Why do I always call up the wrong one? Intel, there it is, Tesla. Okay, 390. So the closest it gets to, we've already looked at this, was 394 and change. So that's the high there for Tesla. That is come and gone. Yeah, still waiting for 388. Apparently we just heard in our ears another missile threat, so I don't know.
Yeah, UAE thing again. We had that once from them already.
What a surprise right there. No, I don't think anything's really gonna move this market unless there's something very, very dramatic, like potentially, unfortunately, like maybe, we're not even sure about the leadership anymore. So like, if something comes across our you know, note here or news feed about like someone, you know, being captured or whatever, I don't even know who that someone could possibly be. So we'll just wait to see what happens here with oil. But we did get a little bit of a reload there on Intel. So we'll take out a little bit of this now if we can on that reload down into the mid-90s. But yeah, Intel took us out there at the 50 level. We'll see if it wants to hold one more time. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Only 2 minutes left. It's been a pretty decent day right there. But you know, always looking to get better, and it's about to get better with Joe and Sharif. So they'll talk about some small cap names, hopefully some runners, and we'll see what's going on.
Not GameStop.
Halting today, CCM.
GameStop's been a disaster, unfortunately. If you've been looking for the long, it's been a bit of a disaster, a bit of a dump spot, I'd say. But BM&R looking pretty solid. It just broke that trend, so we're waiting for this one to do a topping tail and break the trend line. It just did. So look, it got to VWAP last time, but I don't know if we're going to have that kind of juice. Watch for 22.7, and then remember, you got to be thinking about what's going on in IBIT and what's going on in ETH. In a general sense too. So they put in a topping tail. If we just revisit the highs, then you know it's got to be a scalp trade. And ETH is not nearly as strong, but it's not as big of a move, but it's a very similar look. Like if it's breaking out the highs and I have a chance to just get out flat, then I'll go ahead and do so when we get that opportunity. But again, just take your shot when you see the entry. And it's been a lot harder to find the short. But if you're patient enough, there have been some spots where you're able to do it. So that's all we're in right now. Unfortunately, like I said, for GameStop, that's just down 7% now. That's the thing. Like if it was running because everyone knew this story was coming out, like look what happened on Friday, right? Like if the price action tells you that people were in the know and they were buying it up into it, that exacerbates the sell the news effect here on GME. I wonder if I can now get eBay to curl around now that it's breaking the low.
What happened to Palantir? Everything just cracked a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm going to go into eBay again to the south side because I just saw if GameStop is breaking lows. Oops. Oh, I still had to stop, so I just punched in and out flat. I'm going to try and get short, give it to this local high, and then play back into some lows, just as long as GameStop is relatively weak. That's all.
All right.
Yeah. Whoa! What just happened to the market?
I don't know, but we're doing pretty good now. We
Holla.
got a face slapper happening with Intel again. There's Palantir. We're out of Palantir basically. I mean, I'm debating reloading it right down here. We have less than 5% left, but there's the reload. At least it's working out on Intel. Look, it sucks, man, because we just made the high again on this name. So yeah, our stops need a little bit of work, but the ideas seem to be pretty good. So thanks for joining us. You do have Sharif, Joe coming through, Adara. We have Sia. It's been a great day trading so far there today. We want to thank everybody for watching us. 2 of us are back at 2 p.m., so catch us then. Thank you to everybody working the 1s and 2s there. And most importantly, thank you to everybody for watching. All right, have a good chili there, and we'll be back ourselves there. Yeah, the hard-boiled egg is still there. So we'll have, okay, the market's moving downside a little bit with Intel anyways. Let's go catch out what the boys to my left of us are doing here. It's Sharif and Joe. It's midday. We'll see you at 2.
Peace.